Bells was a sweet girl, but fate had been unkind. From a young age, she was forced to live in the royal monastery's orphanage, constantly compared to a peer named Diana. As she grew, Bells's resentment towards Diana festered, a bitterness that led her down a dark path. Manipulated and used, she became an assassin, tasked with taking Diana's life. For this catastrophic mistake, she was tragically executed. Life seemed to end in such a desolate way, but no. Miraculously, Bells was reborn back to her time in the orphanage. With the memories of her past life and the power of the healing eye, could Bells change her destiny? Or would she once again tread the path of sorrow? Let us follow her story. The Royal Monastery's orphanage, a place where many saints and priests were said to be born. Here lived a child loathed by all. A teacher's shriek suddenly pierced the air. Rushing over, the teacher demanded, "Bells, have you been fighting again?" Bells stood there, teeth gritted, resentment simmering beneath the surface. Outside, the priests whispered amongst themselves, "Honestly, that child is nothing but trouble." The other children, their faces etched with scorn, snickered, "Such a bad kid. It's definitely Bells' fault." One priest chuckled, "And he thinks he can become a saint. What a joke. I'm someone no one wants to be near." Meanwhile, Bells continued to defend herself under her breath. He started it. In the distance, another girl approached the boy Bells had injured. "Are you all right? Your injury looks serious. Let me heal you." This gentle girl was Diana Barlow. From that moment on, Bells could feel it, a child as radiant as the sun, her complete opposite. They say a good shadow can only be seen when there is light. I am Bells, the stain of this place. I was born in a devout nation, where nobles and commoners alike revered the goddess. This granted the monastery unparalleled power and prestige, its history steeped in the miraculous deeds of saints. In the legacy of this land, there was one figure who could never be excluded, the saint, the flower of the monastery. And in the orphanage where I lived, many prominent saints and priests were born. People said the children here were blessed by God, gifts from the heavens. My ability was the power of healing. Because of this, I was once considered a candidate to become a saint, but I never rose above the status of candidate, and it was all because of Diana. We were the same age, entering the orphanage around the same time, but she also possessed the power of healing, like a little angel. Unlike me, who had to struggle to heal minor wounds, Diana could instantly mend serious injuries, just like in the legends of the saints. She was kind and gentle to everyone, children and adults alike. Everyone saw Diana as a guardian angel. People constantly compared me, a mere saint candidate, to Diana. Bells looked at her small hands, wondering, why does she have the same power as me? At first, I tried to surpass her, but when Diana's guardian appeared, everything crumbled. One time, Bells overheard the priest talking. "Is it the Baron Marquis family?" It said the family who abandoned Diana at the orphanage suddenly felt guilty about discarding their illegitimate daughter. Even though we were both considered saint candidates, Diana and I were different from the very beginning. We were never meant to be the same. So, only I remained at the orphanage. Years later, due to an accident at the orphanage, I not only lost my healing ability, but also the healing eye, which allowed me to see everyone's wounds. I haven't been able to help for days. Bells dejectedly kicked a stone on the ground. I was scolded again today. Of course. Then one day a voice called out, "Bells, come meet our guests. This is Duke Callio and the young master." I couldn't believe someone powerless like me would suddenly have a guardian. Bells crossed her arms, glancing at the young master. "The Duke wants to make use of my healing power, but in the end, just like everyone else, they'll be disappointed in my abilities and take it all back. I shouldn't have accepted this guardianship in the first place." The young lord approached Bells with an elegant gait, his hair as dark as the night sky, his golden eyes sharp and bright. Edwin, the young duke of the Callio family. Bells, too, found herself captivated by Duke Edwin's handsome and romantic appearance. He was like a prince stepped out of a fairy tale. The moment I saw him, even the discomfort of adults asking for my protection vanished, and Bells, unable to contain her emotions, blurted out, "So dazzling, so beautiful." She pointed resolutely at Edwin and declared, "I want this one to be mine." The priest, hearing this, could only clutch his head in alarm. "What is this?" He forced a laugh as he explained to the Duke, "No, I'm truly sorry, she's still a child." Meanwhile, he pressed Bells' head down with his hand, whispering, "Apologize quickly, you little devil." The Duke said, "It's all right. She's young. These things happen. Then let us consider the guardianship already established. And so, I became a member of the Duke's household. Bells ran towards Edwin amicably. From now on, let's get along. The boy recoiled in fear, dodging her. Stay away from me. Time flew by, and our little Bells had now grown up. One day, she overheard a conversation between two maids. They were saying, Miss Bells has ruined another tea party. It said that Miss Triona even declared she wouldn't attend any gathering where Miss Bells is present. Even though I had grown up and changed my status, I was still a homeless outsider. The maids continued their chatter. Did you hear about Miss Diana? It said she completely cured the queen. As expected of Diana, she's sure to become the saint of this generation. And that's why the young Duke Edwin is to be engaged to her. As the maids stood there gossiping, a hand suddenly reached out. Bells grabbed the maid's hair with her own hand, shouting, "Stop talking about Diana." In Belle's mind, only the name Diana haunted her. The maid, frightened, pleaded repeatedly, "Miss, I was wrong." Wherever I went, Diana's shadow always followed me. No matter how hard I tried, I still couldn't reach her toes. In the end, Diana not only took away what I yearned for, but Bells witnessed the scene of the young Duke Edwin enthusiastically greeting Diana. She even stole the person I cared about most. It's not fair, Diana. You already have everything. Why take Edwin away too? On the day my jealousy towards Diana reached its peak, an attendant of the crown prince came to see me. He revealed that Diana's family was conspiring with the second prince to assassinate the emperor. Don't you want to stop Diana and Edwin's engagement and seize the position of saint? Take this. Looking at the letter in his hand, Bells was puzzled. What is this? Then they proposed a plan to me. He took out a mysterious vial and told her, "This is proof of treason. You just need to place the letter and this poison in the Marquis's mansion." Even then, I found it strange why they would entrust such an important task to me, why the evidence had to be placed in the Marquis's mansion instead of being handed directly to the guards. But blinded by jealousy, I didn't think much of it. The joy of finally being able to separate Diana and Edwin made me take it directly to the Marquis's mansion. But after being poisoned, Diana used her last breath to say to Bells, their real plan wasn't like this. Why you? I was like an easily manipulated fool, only understanding after everything was over. She screamed in panic, "No, I didn't poison the tea." With no chance to defend myself, I was arrested for the poison, arrested for the crime of poisoning the saint. Soon after, they found a letter detailing the treasonous plot in my room, and I had to take responsibility for that crime as well. Then I learned the truth, the evidence of the Marquis's alliance with the second prince, that had been altered to implicate Duke Callio and the crown prince. The Callio family, a legendary family revered as heroes of the religious war, with hundreds of years of glory, lost their title and became traitors because of my greed. Even as I stood on the execution platform, condemned for attempted murder, I kept asking myself why this was happening only to me. I felt like the pitiful villain in some trashy novel, accepting the moment of leaving this world. Then it hit me. This world actually was a novel about a woman overcoming hardships, trials, victories, and love to become a saint. It was called The Saint of Destiny, and Diana was the main character, not me. All the important people I knew were destined to fall in love with Diana. Every time Bells appeared before them, she was just Diana's rival, harassing her at every turn. Everything was orchestrated for Diana. I was just a tool in the original plot. I regretted living a life filled with hatred and pain, my one precious life. Thinking this, I closed my eyes. But then, I couldn't believe it. Bells frantically touched her face in disbelief. How could this be? She stared at the mirror in a daze. Plump fingers, soft skin. Belle's eyes widened in astonishment. Am I really alive? When I opened my eyes, I had returned to my 5-year-old self, the me rejected by everyone. I was certain I was no longer in that world. How did I realize I was in a novel and then come back to life? Wait, now that I think about it, some parts of my past life didn't match the novel. There was no collapse of the Callio family in the original plot. In fact, in the original story, after Diana's poisoning incident, they immediately abandoned me, Bells, choosing to save the family. Then why was my past life different from the original? Could it be that my actions after realizing I was in a novel deviated from the original story? So it wasn't my fault. I was the reason for the Callio family's collapse. While immersed in these chaotic thoughts, the priest suddenly opened the door and came in. Bells, are you ready? After you finish your meal, copy the 10th chapter of the 6th scripture. I'll be back in an hour to check. She stood frozen in fear. The priest continued, "Bells, don't forget that Diana has already completed all her lessons and left the temple, taken under the wing of a noble. How can you two be so different? You can't even write properly. How can two candidates be so disparate?" Bells suddenly realized, wait, this person, that's the priest who caused me the most trouble in my past life. She always nagged, if you pull another stunt like last time, you'll suffer terrible consequences next time. How dare you stare at me like that? Don't look at me with that strange expression, you savage. With that, she shoved Bells to the ground. She thought to herself, why won't this annoying cough stop? Bells, holding back tears, silently said in her heart, that cough will never get better. It's an incurable disease. The priest said coldly, stop making a fuss and get up. I just pushed you. And those red eyes, what's with them? Such a troublesome child. Bells sat there thinking, this time, I'm not going to tell her. I saw her incurable illness. The healing was my special ability. It allowed me to identify injuries and the cause of illnesses based on the color emanating from the sick. Blue signified an incurable disease. In my past life, this ability led her to foresee the death of a certain priest. Bells had pointed at her and said, Auntie, you're going to die soon. Hearing this, the priest had panicked. What did you just say? It seems an evil spirit has possessed this body. Priest, please lock this disrespectful child in the repentance room. After those words, Bells was locked in the dungeon. She could only shout in vain, let me out. I just said what I saw. Initially, I was imprisoned for disrespecting the priest, but when she actually died, as I predicted, I was dragged back to the repentance room. Somehow, during those 2 years there, I gradually lost the power of the healing eye. Back in the present, Bells glared at the priest with hatred. In my past life, I lost it meaninglessly. This time, I won't let that happen again, so I'll never tell anyone. She suddenly turned to Bells and said, calm down and copy the scriptures like Diana does. It was surprising how different she had become. The girl, upon hearing this, simply stuck out her tongue and quipped, you don't have to remind me. I was already planning on it. Diana had always excelled, while I always resisted everything. Because we were both saint candidates, we were constantly compared. Back then, I hated the comparisons so much that I purposely acted worse. That is, until I realized my defiance was causing the nobles to postpone their support for me. If I pretended to be like Diana, perhaps I could have left this place sooner. In my past life, pride stopped me, even though it hurt me. But this time, I'm going to live differently. If I need to pretend to be like Diana, then I'll do it perfectly. Bells took a deep breath and steeled her resolve. In my past life, I rarely passed the scripture examinations because I couldn't read or write. Now that I'm back, copying scriptures is a trivial matter. Let's see. The first saint, Archeae, offered her heart to the goddess to prevent the invasion of evil spirits. By doing so, she brought about the miracle of divine reversal. After spacing out for a moment, Bells was startled by the messy handwriting on the paper. What? Why is it like this? She tried to reassure herself. It must be because it's my first time writing since I came back. If I rewrite it, it should be the same as before. Bells looked at her hands, speculating, could it be that my past life's consciousness isn't synchronized with this child's body? Actually, both my writing and reading skills were taught to me by the Duke's family. Bells recalled the time in her past life when she had thrown her pen on the ground in frustration. No matter how many times I write, but it's the same. But Edwin was always there to encourage her. It's much better this time. Let me teach you from the beginning. Pick up your pen and try again. Bells bit her lip, try to hold back her tears. It'll still be the same. Suddenly, the Duke walked in, startling Bells. Are you studying? Oh, it seems I've disturbed you. Edwin sighed and asked, why don't you show me what you've written? You worked hard. The girl replied shyly, no, I'll show you when I've written it better. Edwin gently coaxed her. Even now, Father would be proud of your effort. Bells hesitantly asked, really? Finally, she decided to show the Duke. This is my writing. Can you take a look? He immediately replied, of course. Let me see. Looking at the words on the paper, he praised, you've done well. I became too critical and pained because I felt inferior to Diana, but they always waited for me, comforted me. Bells hesitated. Anyone can see it's terrible. The Duke gently explained, it's natural for a first attempt. It was because of their patience that I finally opened my heart and accepted them as family. The Duke pointed out Belle's strengths. Even when writing long sentences, your strokes are steady. As long as you practice, you'll definitely be able to write elegantly. There's no rush. You'll definitely do better. I want to see them again. I want to apologize for my selfishness and mistakes. I want to repay the love and kindness they showed me. A week after her return, rumors about Bells were spreading. Did you know That troublemaker Bells has become completely different, determined to live a different life. I changed enough for others to notice. As everyone watched in surprise, she finished all her food. Bells actually finished all her food. That's unexpected. She quickly turned away to hide her grimace. It's nothing. Although it tastes awful, I miss the food at the Duke's mansion. Finally finished. Even so, she smiled and said, "Thank you for the meal." The boy sitting next to her could only chuckle and say, "I knew it." If you looked closely, he must have secretly thrown his food away. The priest began to grow suspicious. The madness within Bells surged again, making the boy's face pale. "You're crazy. I'm trying to live a normal life, but they won't let me." The priest quickly intervened. "Hey, you can't hit your friend." Bells took a deep breath, struggling to control the second personality within her. Regardless, she offered a gentle smile. "See, I ate every last bit. You're so mischievous. It's all right. I'll forgive you, because I'm a good person. From now on, though I still have a long way to go, if I keep this up, I'll be ready to see the Callio family again," Bells murmured. "This life will be different from the last, right?" The priest hurried after her. "Quickly, change into this dress." When Bells held the aristocratic dress in her hands, her eyes widened with delight. "It's so beautiful. This dress is meant for meeting nobles, but why give it to me?" The priestess, slightly breathless, explained, "Important guests have come to see you. Hurry and change." Astonished, she replied, "Okay. That's strange. There's no reason for anyone to come see me at this time. Who could it be?" Bells walked inside, a knot of anxiety tightening in her stomach. "I first met Duke Callio after I lost my healing eye at 7 and moved to the Duke's mansion at 8. So when I'm only 5, no one should be coming to see me." The priestess stood outside and knocked. "My lord, it's me." A voice from within bade her enter. The door slowly opened, and Belle's apprehension deepened. "No matter how differently I live, this is happening too soon." The familiar face of the Duke gradually came into view. The moment she saw him, a torrent of emotions flooded Belle's heart. From that day on, I couldn't forget them, not even in my dreams. How could I forget my saviors who did so much for me? I must show my respect. "This is Duke Callio." He stood silently, gazing at Bells with a serious expression. She was stunned. I didn't expect to see him so soon. But why has the Callio family come so early? This is different from my past life. Bells told herself that perhaps this was a good thing. This life had given her the chance to meet the Callio family earlier, but she had to make a good impression. Her cheeks flushed. "I'm just overwhelmed with emotion." She tried to compose herself. "Calm down. I have to do as I practiced in my head." Then, taking the initiative, she spoke. "Greetings, Your Grace." She bowed respectfully, mindful of proper etiquette. "My name is Bells. I am 5 years old and possess the ability to heal." Liam seemed pleased. "You appear to be well-versed in etiquette." Bells thought to herself, "I don't know why I didn't realize this in my past life." The Duke's gaze held a surprising warmth. He introduced the boy beside him. "I am Duke Callio." At this, she turned her attention to the boy before her. "This is my eldest son and heir, Edwin Callios, the young Duke Callios." Worry gnawed at her. "If I look into Edwin's eyes now, I don't think I'll be able to hold back my tears." She fought to suppress her emotions. "Greetings, young Duke." Suddenly, someone spoke. "Bells, the reason these people have come to see you is—" Edwin abruptly interrupted. "Wait." He stepped closer to Bells. "Hey, do you have anything to say to me?" She trembled. "No, if Edwin gets this close, I don't think I can control my emotions anymore." In an instant, the scene from that year flashed before her eyes. "Am I not beautiful? Don't you like me?" Bells was speechless, unable to stem the flow of tears. Remembering her past life, it felt like an unbearable insult. She truly couldn't hold back any longer, bursting into tears to the bewilderment of everyone present. After a moment, she dabbed her nose with a handkerchief. Bells berated herself for her foolishness, crying at their first meeting. Liam nudged his son. "Comfort the little girl." Edwin looked displeased. Hearing this, she felt even more ashamed. "Did I do something wrong?" "You did nothing wrong. It was my fault. This time, I made you uncomfortable during our first meeting. This body and its emotions aren't synchronized with my mind. A child's body is very uncomfortable." The priestess apologized timidly. "I apologize to the Duke and the young Duke. Bells is still young, so she might be easily frightened." She was told that even at a young age, she must be aware of the formidable authority of the Callio family. This family, seemingly devoid of tears and blood, had for generations cultivated masters of swordsmanship who swept across battlefields. The current duke had been called the ruthless sword demon since childhood. Bells, pouting, said that wasn't why she was crying. Besides, those rumors were exaggerated. The Callio family was very kind. Not only did they not abandon a useless person like her, but they also helped her. Suddenly, the priestess said, "Perhaps you should come again next time, Liam." The child is naturally afraid of strangers. The priestess was still worried. However, the duke, as I said before, Bells is indeed quite useless. Suddenly, Liam was annoyed. Enough. I don't think such words should be spoken in front of child. He forced a smile. You're right, Liam added, and you should know this child is our only hope. The child you brought last time was a complete failure. If it weren't for the young duke, I would think the treatment was showing no progress. Bells was surprised. If they were talking about treatment, could it be about his second son? At that time, the Callio family was like a house in mourning. Even with all the doctors and medicines on the continent aiding him, the second son's condition didn't improve. Finally, as a last resort, the duke sought help from the temple, which received a large donation. Diana, who belonged to the Marquis family, was brought to the duke's mansion. However, despite Diana's excellent healing abilities, she couldn't completely cure him, and he passed away when Bells was 7. But before the second son's death, Diana continuously visited the duke's mansion for a year. It was too early to tell. How could they know Diana couldn't cure him? Come to think of it, didn't he just say I wasn't pretty? He said some strange things. She glanced furtively at Edwin. It was as if he was recalling something from the past. Bells dismissed her thoughts. Impossible. Otherwise, he wouldn't have left on the day the Callio family was destroyed. Suddenly, the duke spoke. You said your name is Bells. Bells, I had a child just like you, dignified and polite. Bells thought, if it was another child of the Callio family. She said boldly, I know you're talking about Joshua, right? Panicking inwardly, don't tell me you're planning to have me replace Diana and treat him. She continued, I treated him at an event last year. She told herself, I can't miss this opportunity. In my past life, I healed countless people with my healing abilities, and Callio's second son was one of them. It was a brief encounter, and my memories of Joshua are hazy, but this is my first chance to repay the Callio family. She bravely confirmed it was true. Your Grace, Bells inquired further. Diana couldn't cure Joshua, could she? Liam was puzzled. How did you know? Bells was nervous. I'm not sure I can completely cure him. She thought, I can't possibly succeed at something even the heroine, Diana, couldn't do. Even so, even if it's just to repay a fraction of their kindness, I'll do my best. She said, if you give me the chance, I'll do everything in my power to heal him. Silence followed her words. So she thought she probably couldn't do it. After all, she was weaker than Diana. Suddenly, Edwin spoke. It's not us who grant you permission. You fool. Liam admonished his son. Edwin, mind your words. He replied, we're the ones asking for help, aren't we? Hearing this, Bells felt tears welling up again. The young duke is right. Edwin looked flustered. Why are you crying again? I swear I didn't do anything this time. Unexpectedly, Liam extended his hand. Bells, he said, would you come to the duke's mansion? Her eyes lit up with joy. Yes, of course. She could hardly believe it. She hadn't expected to go to the duke's mansion so soon. Since the duke trusted her so much, she was determined to cure Joshua. Suddenly, someone called out to her. Bells, the priest said, the priestess has something to tell you before you leave. If you'll excuse us, your grace, he addressed the duke. Please wait by the carriage, Liam replied. Edwin suddenly stepped forward. What is it? He asked, positioning himself in front of Bells. Tell her now. Bells was taken aback. Edwin, the priest, tried to reason. It won't take long, young duke. As the priestess, she simply wishes to give the child a few words of guidance. Liam intervened. Very well. The child needs time to prepare as well. We'll wait by the carriage. However, Edwin looked displeased. Before leaving, he said, if anything happens to you, come to us immediately. Bells replied, yes, sir. For some reason, she felt as though Edwin was protecting her. Was it her imagination? Edwin said, then take your time. After the duke and his son departed, the priestess revealed her true colors. That damned brat, she muttered, then called out to Bells, who was still lost in thought. Right, because of the meeting with the duke's family. She had completely forgotten the priestess's scolding. Pretend to heal him. Just enough so the boy shows slight improvement, then come back. He's High Priest Dunkiski, and he's always been this way. He only heals people just enough, so they're forced to return to the temple. She threatened Bells. When the time comes, that arrogant Callio family will learn who truly holds the power. He was greedy and repulsive. She repeated, just enough to show slight improvement. Dunkowski said, that's right, just like you've always done. An illness Diana couldn't cure. How could someone like you possibly manage it? In a high priest's eyes, whether Bells could heal the boy or not, the temple would be in a difficult position. He continued, don't spout nonsense about being able to do it and ruin the temple's reputation. I'm telling you to know your place. If Bells can't cure him, we'll have to return the donations the Duke's family made. If she happened to succeed, it would mean Diana was incompetent. The temple intended to use Diana to secure their interests, so naturally, they didn't want her value to diminish. It meant they would have to keep returning donations, pitying her meager abilities like some kind of sacrificial offering. If Joshua died, it would mean she was worse than useless. She knew that in the temple, her position wasn't even that of a proper saint candidate. She was merely Diana's stepping stone, something easily manipulated to be discarded once she had served her purpose. But what if this time she refused to live that way? Bell spoke boldly. What if I can cure him? Dunkowski rebuked her. Speaking such heresy, you must be possessed by a demon. Do you want to be locked up like Ismail? Hearing that name, Bell's face paled. Ismail, someone as capable as her and Diana, had been summoned to the temple a year ago. But a few days later, she was sent back to the orphanage, her powers and voice gone after being confined to the confession chamber. Ismail was possessed by an evil spirit, so the gods revoked her powers and voice, Dunkowski had claimed. And then, Bells, you're being raised as a saint candidate, so you must behave appropriately, so the gods will bless you more and continue to aid us. These were words she had heard countless times in her past life. Behave appropriately, Bells. You never know when you might prove useful. Those expectations had been like poison to her. He always reminded her, you must surpass Diana and become the saint. But even until the very end, they had never truly acknowledged her. Dunkowski continued, so the goddess will bless and always watch over you, don't you think? These words, too, she had heard far too many times in her previous life. Behave appropriately, Bells. You never know when you might prove useful. Those expectations had been like poison to Bells, she thought. He always reminded her she might surpass Diana and become the saint, but Bells never received their acknowledgement, even in her final moments. She wasn't possessed by a demon, nor was she an innocent child like Ismail. She was a person, high priest. No matter how frustrated she was, she would obey for now. Forcing a smile, she said, yes, high priest. Soon enough, she would give him a metaphorical kick where it hurt. Feigning a question, Bells asked, shouldn't I go see the Duke's family quickly? We've kept them waiting for too long. Dunkowski seemed to snap back to the present. Right, he said. You can go now. Remember what I said. Before leaving, she couldn't resist one last jab. Under her breath, she muttered, you bastard. He reacted instantly, his anger flaring. What? What did you say? She pretended he'd misheard. Not bastard. High Priest Dunkowski, she said sweetly. To herself, Bells vowed, in this life, no matter what happens, I won't let things go the way he wants. Stepping outside, Edwin greeted her. What took you so long? He asked. She felt a flicker of surprise. Was Edwin waiting for me? There was someone she wanted to protect, and that was Edwin. He continued. Let's go. That old man is really strange, isn't he? She paused, taken aback. Of course he was. Even in her past life, Edwin hadn't been fond of those associated with the temple. He'd never told Bells why. Despite that, he had become engaged to Diana, the future saint. Perhaps he truly loved her. Bells should support them both, wish them happiness, but she could only manage a strained smile. When he asked what Dunkowski had said to her, she replied, nothing much. He just told me to take good care of Joshua. For some reason, a wave of sadness washed over her. After a short walk, they finally arrived. Looking at the building before her, she thought, I'm finally back. Back at the mansion. The mansion, indeed. Seeing the Duke's residence made her realize she truly had returned. Inside, Liam addressed Bells. I apologize for rushing you without a moment's rest, but could you examine Joshua first, Bells? She replied, of course. Let me take a look. Edwin sat down and took Joshua's hand. Joshua, he said gently, we're here. Joshua was Edwin's younger brother, the Duke's youngest son. He suffered from a chronic illness that caused his wounds to bleed excessively. Bells watched silently, observing the child who had died in her past life. It felt incredibly strange. Perhaps it's because we're both in the same predicament that I feel this way. She addressed Liam. Then, I'll begin by examining the young Duke's condition. He gave his permission. Please, proceed. First, She needed to assess his current state. The bandages wrapped around his leg appeared fresh, but the edges were already stained with blood. Perhaps a previous wound was still bleeding. Bells remembered that in her past life, Joshua's cause of death hadn't been excessive blood loss, but a heart attack. A faint orange energy emanated from Joshua's heart, the kind often seen in those with unexplained terminal illnesses. She could only vaguely surmise this through the hazy memories of her past life. She was convinced by the energy. Every time a wound appeared, his already weakened heart had to work harder to supply blood to his body. When it weakened, if that was the case, she needed to treat his heart first, not the injured areas. Liam suddenly asked, "Do you think you can cure him?" She replied, "Yes, I understand the current situation." Suddenly, Bells sensed something dreadful. Impossible. Why? Why does Edwin have the same energy? The energy wasn't emanating from the wound on his knee, but from somewhere else entirely. Yet, Bells felt a distinct similarity, a faint energy radiating from Edwin. It was the same hereditary illness. In her past life, she had met Edwin after losing her healing abilities, so she hadn't been able to recognize it then. As for the Duke, who might also carry the same hereditary illness, she couldn't sense any energy from him. It was strange. The illness must have been inherited from the Duchess, who had passed away prematurely. Bells tried to remind herself to focus. Now wasn't the time to make random speculations about the situation. Everything was different from her past life. She still possessed her healing abilities, and Edwin's energy was faint, suggesting the illness was still dormant. In truth, she was grateful for the early discovery. An ailment of this size could be treated quickly. The problem was Joshua. While his external wounds were healing, his heart wasn't. They needed to treat his heart as soon as possible before it was too late. She looked at Joshua, thinking, just hold on a little longer. "Joshua, I'll heal you soon," Liam, who had been watching from the side, suddenly said. Just then, Dr. Gordon and Lady Casten arrived unexpectedly. "I thought your visit to the temple would take longer, but you arrived before us," Gordon remarked. "I was delayed because I had to retrieve some herbs to aid young Master Joshua's recovery," Liam explained. "Gordon, you've been a great help," he added. "It's only natural, as I am his attending physician." With that, he noticed Bells. "What are you doing?" he asked. Startled, she replied, "I'm trying to heal him." Gordon questioned, "His wounds aren't there. Why are you touching him there?" She hesitated. What should she do now? If she told them she'd seen the root of Joshua's critical condition, if her healing abilities were discovered. She didn't want her powers revealed in this lifetime, but she couldn't explain the situation without mentioning them. While Bells was still agonizing over this, Gordon grew angry. "Even if you're a child of the temple, I can't allow you to touch the young Duke's body so carelessly." Lady Casten also chimed in, "Your Grace, did you really bring that child here?" Bells tensed. That person. She recognized the face. "Lady Casten, isn't this the little thing who is less capable than Diana?" The woman said. She was the personal maid brought from the late Duchess's family home, also responsible for Joshua's care. Of all the maids, she was the one who disliked Bells the most. Lady Casten said uncomfortably, "This child's healing abilities aren't even comparable to Diana's. To entrust the young master to such a person." She seemed worried, but received only a cool response from Liam. "This child is an honored guest of the Duke's household." Bells stood there, equally surprised. "Your Grace." Finally, she forced herself to respond, "My apologies, Your Grace." Then Liam turned and carefully instructed, "Gordon, please trust this child. We can't just watch him die." Gordon still seemed hesitant. "But Your Grace," Edwin interrupted. "Come now, Gordon. Father is right. He's truly helpless, since even the young Duke has become like this." Edwin's eyes bored into Gordon. "Or are you implying that Father and I brought this child here for nothing?" Gordon felt that further explanation was pointless, so he replied perfunctorily, "Please forgive my lapse in judgment." Bells looked at Edwin with admiration. Edwin was the same whether young or older, the calm and rational type. Turning to the girl, Edwin asked suspiciously, "So, when will you begin my treatment?" Bells, slightly intimidated, immediately replied, "I'll do it right away." The girl looked hesitantly at her hands. "Actually, I already tried just now." Bells held up her thumb. "Yes, that's the problem. This faint healing light has a little life force. The life force surging within me is like a boundless ocean, but only a tiny bit escapes. That's why I can't heal properly. Bells wore a contemplative expression. In my past life, when I believed I could definitely be of help in this life, I stepped forward with confidence. Perhaps that's the reason. Is it because you believe in the gods more that your healing ability has weakened? Bells recalled Edwin saying those words. Because life force comes from faith. Don't rush. Pray to the gods. Bells pondered for a long time, finally understanding. Yes, faith in the gods. This might be the principle Diana told me about in my past life. In my past life, I constantly blamed the gods. Bells clasped her hands together in prayer. Why was I an orphan? Why did Diana and I have the same ability, yet she was superior to me in every way? However, oh gods, you sent me back to correct everything, right? Then please help me heal this child. The girl was praying for Edwin. Bells wrestled with her thoughts. If you help me, I won't hate Diana in this life, nor will I covet Edwin. Honestly, you've already favored Diana enough. In my past life, I can feel a terrifying power surging within me, a dazzling light visible to everyone. Liam spoke, bewildered. I don't understand what this is. Edwin, equally astonished, breathed. Bells is trying to heal Joshua. The boy remained still, receiving the treatment, while everyone else stood back, silently watching Bells. Lady Casten gasped, as if witnessing something utterly unexpected. The young master is still unconscious. What's wrong with him? Hearing this, Dr. Gordon rushed forward. Let me see. Joshua's feet are covered in wounds. After a brief examination, Gordon realized the bleeding had stopped and the wounds were scabbing over. She stood there, utterly perplexed. What does this mean? Don't you understand? Bells, feeling her energy nearly depleted after the prolonged effort, replied, It means the wounds have healed. You should be out of danger now. Lady Casten fretted. But what should we do? The young master hasn't woken up yet. As I said, an orphan of unknown origin shouldn't touch the young master. But even as the words left her mouth, Joshua stirred and sat up. To everyone's astonishment, the boy rubbed his eyes. Why is everyone here? Bells, seeing him awake, felt a surge of relief. Everyone's attention immediately shifted to Joshua, leaving Bells standing alone, without even a word of thanks. A pang of sadness struck her. How awkward. I thought I could finally fit in with them. But as long as Joshua looks happy and my magic worked, it's fine. Joshua looked at Bells with a puzzled expression. Father, who is that? Oh, right. Quickly, say hello. That's Bells, the child who healed you. Joshua looked at the girl with newfound respect. So, she really is a genius healer. Really, you actually kept your promise. Bells sighed wearily. What genius healer? I'm so tired I can barely think straight. Liam, curious, asked his son, Joshua, what promise are you talking about? The boy happily recounted the events of the previous year at the temple. Edwin, looking at Bells' pale face, asked if she was all right. You should go and rest. But the girl shook her head. I'm not tired. Even as she spoke, her vision began to blur. Everyone gasped as they watched Bells begin to sway and collapse. This is the first time I've used so much divine power, she murmured. Suddenly, Bells found herself in a beautiful, unfamiliar place. Disoriented, she wondered, am I dreaming? It looked like a birthday party. Even if they aren't saints, the children of the orphanage possess extraordinary gifts. Everyone believes these children are blessed by God. Every year, on God's birthday festival at the temple, these children's talents are showcased. Suddenly, a voice called out, Bells, come out. Where could that child be? Bells glared in the direction of the voice. You'll never find me during the festival. Bells often hid in the secluded forest. I'm too exhausted from dealing with all the people who wanted to heal them. I must be hiding around here somewhere. A bright voice rang out. Look, I'm completely healed. Bells hushed the boy. That's why everything I do is a secret. As promised, I'll continue your treatment. Mid-treatment, a voice interrupted them. Young Master Joshua. The boy explained, that's my nanny. Seeing someone approaching, Bells quickly made her escape. I think I have to go now. When we meet again, I'll heal the rest, okay? But you have to promise to keep today's event a secret. Now, Bells remembered. When she was 4 years old, she had hidden in the back garden during the birthday party to avoid being asked to heal people. But it was then that she had encountered Joshua, injured while playing. I helped him. Unlike me, who forgets things quickly, he's been waiting for that promise all this time. I'm sorry, I forgot in this life, but I will definitely heal you later. Joshua announced to everyone that she had awakened. Both Joshua and Edwin breathed a sigh of relief. And you don't remember anything. She had collapsed after healing Joshua. According to Bells' observations, his complexion had improved and the energy in his chest had lessened considerably. feeling reassured now. I just need to heal the remaining injuries. Bells promised Joshua, I will complete the treatment I couldn't finish before. Edwin grabbed her arm and asked what she was doing. Bells replied, fearfully, I'm trying to heal the young master. Your nose is bleeding again, Edwin realized. Edwin told the girl to bring her face closer, but Bells seemed frightened and didn't dare approach. It's all right. You just need to rest for a while, and you'll be fine. Don't move. You just woke up after being unconscious for a whole day. Bells panicked at this a whole day. Look, they've all changed their clothes. Edwin had to admit, yes, so take care of yourself first. But Bells still seemed worried about something. If the treatment fails and Joshua dies, the Duke will have to endure the same pain as in my past life. For the sake of the Duke's family, I need to eliminate that energy. I was previously only focused on treating the energy in his heart, not the actual injuries. Even if Joshua has woken up, if he doubts my abilities because of the remaining injuries and never lets me treat him again, then Joshua's heart will never be healed. Bell said confidently, I can still use magic. Edwin said, yes, you should stop treating Joshua. Liam said calmly. Bells was still wondering, is it because I couldn't completely heal the young master? Liam shook his head in denial and began to explain, actually, last year, when Joshua was happy, the boy kept talking about a female doctor in the back garden of the temple who perfectly healed the injury on his knee. The boy didn't tell me specifically because it was a secret, but it turns out you were the one who healed Joshua that day. Bells now understood all the reasons for her being sponsored by the Duke's family. Before I was reborn, after Joshua died, someone in the Duke's family discovered that the cause of his death was a hereditary disease. Recalling Joshua's words before his death, they immediately came looking for me. Liam made a decision. I will temporarily halt Joshua's treatment until you have fully recovered, if you'll allow it. While he was speaking, Bells was still thinking. Because all my questions have been answered, I now have a direction in my vague resolve to repay the Duke's family. I wanted to ask for your opinion on continuing Joshua's treatment. Bells told herself, I will cure the Callio family's hereditary disease. So the girl immediately agreed. Please leave it to me. Don't push yourself too hard. Everyone was very worried when they saw you collapse like that. Joshua happily approached the little girl. I finally get to see you again. I don't want to see anything happen to you. Gordon suddenly voiced his objection, and no one understood why. Liam asked him, puzzled, you still don't trust Bells. Gordon explained seriously, compared to her abilities, my doubts have lessened. Even a doctor like me finds it astonishing. Therefore, it's even more important that this child doesn't continue the treatment. Using such a large amount of divine power will put a huge strain on her body. Liam tried to reiterate, the gods have confirmed this. As she fainted, Gordon slowly revealed the truth, this child. Her heart stopped beating. This greatly shocked Liam, and Bells was terrified as she saw both boys looking at her. In my past life, the days I was imprisoned for intentionally killing Diana were like hell, with endless interrogations and horrific torture. I discovered a hidden ability. The figure of a long-haired boy appeared, and even the second prince Carrion appeared here. Is this what they call the goddess's blessing? Any wound, no matter how severe, heals instantly. She could even survive without a heart. If the temple knew this, they would surely bestow upon her the title of saintess. Someone cautioned the prince to choose his words carefully. Otherwise, Diana's appointment as saintess would be swift. Why is this happening only to me? After enduring endless suffering, Bells had finally embraced death. When she opened her eyes again, she was 5 years old. Bells could scarcely believe it when she heard that her heart had stopped beating. I never noticed before, but I truly can't feel it. Since I've returned to the past, my heart should have come back with me. Could it be that my heart was left behind, unable to follow me? If I truly have no heart and yet live, is it, as the second Prince Carrion suggested, a blessing from the goddess? The situation was deeply perplexing. Dr. Gordon was examining the young girl. Overuse of the divine power within this body appears to have resulted in the temporary cessation of her heartbeat. Though through various means, a faint pulse can be detected, it is barely perceptible. Insisting that this child continue to heal the young master is tantamount to exchanging her life for his. Therefore, it would be best to discontinue the divine healing. Bells vehemently disagreed. I'm perfectly healthy. If my past body was in this condition, I wouldn't have died even without a heart. If we stop the treatment because of this misunderstanding, Joshua's condition will worsen, and he might even die. Bells tried to reason with him. You can ask the temple or the orphanage. Everyone will tell you there's no healthier child than me. Heart conditions are difficult to diagnose without a thorough examination, a fact Gordon acknowledged, leaving him uncertain. certain. He suddenly raised his voice. Did you not hear what I just said? If I allow you to continue like this, next time it won't just be fainting. Bells attempted to defend herself. That's because I used too much divine power at once. From now on, I'll control it better. If I collapse again, I'll give up. I'm very healthy. Please believe me. Liam, observing their exchange from the sidelines, pondered the situation. Finally, he felt compelled to intervene. Bells, reconsider continuing the treatment. If you persist, not only for Joshua's safety, but for your own well-being, you need to accept the Duke's assistance. Bells remained resolute. I promise. Please let me continue to heal the young master. Liam found the decision difficult. This matter. You seem energetic. Gordon, quickly prepare and bring medicine. He relented. Yes, your grace. If that is your wish, I will prepare energy-replenishing medicine. Bells also made a request. If possible, please include some reliable herbs as well. They're truly helpful for restoring strength. Gordon bristled. You dare request such precious ingredients. Liam interjected. Very well. I promise to bring the medicine when I return. Bells was delighted. Though I don't know when the next treatment will be, from now on, to help Joshua, I'll borrow some of those herbs. Dr. Gordon, I feel that from now on, I can manage both my heart and Joshua's condition. But there's one more thing I need to do. An idea struck Bells. Or perhaps I should take this opportunity to examine the young master as well. Edwin confirmed. I'm fine. I get checked every year. No problems. Bells worried for him. But Joshua is ill. Your brothers. What if he gets sick later too? Suspicion began to grow in Gordon's mind. Even while treating Joshua, I had a strong premonition that this child knows something and is trying to hide it. I have something to ask you. Why did you treat Joshua's heart instead of his knee? Gordon's interest was piqued. Perhaps this is an opportunity to discuss Joshua's condition. The young master has been experiencing prolonged bleeding, despite the wound not being deep. I heard Diana's treatment was ineffective, and I suspect the cause lies elsewhere. If I discover the root of Joshua's illness, the treatment will be more effective, and of course, Edwin can easily be examined as well. Gordon understood what Bells meant. It seemed the problem lay with Joshua's circulatory system, something he'd read about in medical texts. Bells recalled having to feign knowledge at the tender age of 5, which made Gordon wonder how a child that young could understand medical books that even adults found difficult. It was truly unbelievable. Should I make up another excuse? Edwin asked suspiciously. Do you even know how to read? I can read a little, Bells replied. Gordon felt that simply protecting the heart with medication wasn't enough. I have a hunch that the young master's heart might be under some kind of strain, he mused, but Master Joshua is young. I believe that once his regenerative abilities return, his heart will naturally recover. Gordon must have assumed Joshua's heart could hold out until his regenerative abilities returned. The problem was the illness wasn't simply due to a lack of regenerative ability. On the contrary, it was because of his heart condition that his regenerative abilities hadn't returned. The medical texts mentioned that this type of heart condition was usually hereditary, so Bells suggested they examine the young Duke as well. Gordon looked surprised. So you're saying it could be hereditary? Since such an illness has never appeared in the Duke's family history, it would have to have come from the deceased Duchess's side of the family. Bells had only suspected a heart problem, but when Joshua's heart had healed before her eyes, she'd become certain. With the wound now closed, Liam spoke with conviction. So the heart is the root cause. Gordon nodded in agreement. I have nothing to argue against that, Your Grace. I truly wish I had realized this sooner. Chin up, Gordon. More than anyone, I know how hard you've worked. Now that we've found the cause, we can make progress. As Bell suggested, it would be best for both you and the young master to undergo a thorough examination. Edwin couldn't believe he was included. I have checkups every year. Is it really necessary? Gordon explained, according to her, it could be hereditary. And didn't you have your last checkup last year? Bells felt relieved. That's wonderful. That way, Edwin's condition can be discovered before it worsens, and he can receive timely treatment. Finally, it was time for Bells to leave. Farewell, everyone. Even though the joyful time has passed, I still feel like it was all a dream. The temple has sent someone to fetch me. Since I haven't returned from the Duke's estate after a whole day, I must bid farewell to the Duke again and leave these familiar faces. Hurry now, the High Priest is waiting. I hope Master Joshua will have recovered by the time I see him again. Bells, I've done all I can. Joshua's cause of illness had been discovered, preventing his death, and Edwin would also be examined, meaning he could receive treatment soon. Take care, young master. Don't be sad about this farewell. Edwin requested of Bells, please don't address me so formally. Could you call me Edwin, like before? Bells was confused, unsure what he meant. She must have accidentally called him by his name after waking up from her faint. In her past life, addressing a noble by their name without permission was the reason the Duke's family had despised her. Bells immediately bowed in apology. "Call me Edwin when we meet again," Edwin said, also bidding her farewell. She suddenly realized he had just smiled at her. So much had changed. She didn't know when they would meet again, but even so, she hoped it would be soon. Liam, after giving something to Joshua, turned and asked Edwin, "What do you think about sponsoring that child?" Edwin replied coldly, "Hasn't father already decided? Joshua's condition is sure to improve." Unlike Diana, she wasn't completely useless. Carrion, the Duke's attendant, Logan, appeared. "Thanks to Diana's help, haven't we overcome many dangerous stages?" Logan went on to explain why her healing abilities had ultimately failed. Edwin was suspicious. "Since you're in charge of Diana's donation budget, you seem to enjoy making excuses. Why not stop as Edwin suggested?" Logan mused. Diana's power faded after a while. As time went on, Joshua's condition didn't improve. The healing only works while the patient is alive, and that became clear when her power wore off. Seeing Diana's healing power fail, it seemed the young master's life force was waning. The temple had no grounds to rashly intervene and declare Joshua would die. Edwin's become much more sober since then. Edwin, racked with guilt, exclaimed, "It's all my fault. I was the one who suggested Joshua go for a walk." Liam consoled his son, who blamed himself for Joshua's deteriorating health. After returning from the temple, Edwin shut himself in his room for days. He finally agreed to see his father. That's when everything began to change. Though his eyes were red-rimmed and his face drawn, bearing the marks of the ordeal, he nominated another saint candidate at the temple. "What do you think about bringing her here one last time?" The look in his eyes had completely changed. He had always been mature for his age, but from that day forward, any trace of childishness had vanished. Even with his younger brother on the brink of death, his rationality and decisiveness are well suited for the position of family heir. "I'm relieved by that." Logan addressed them both. "Fortunately, the young master's condition has improved, but we're not sure if it will happen again. For now, we'll call her in when needed. Like today, each time making a donation to the temple correct. But it would be fine not to donate, wouldn't it? If we're going to sponsor someone, isn't this the best way?" Liam inquired seriously. "Is that Gordon's opinion as well?" He had to admit, the little girl's healing abilities were impressive, but even more astonishing was her vast medical knowledge. A 5-year-old with such knowledge was truly remarkable. Normally, I'd find it absurd, but after hearing her speak about the possibility of a hereditary link, I sent a telegram to the physicians in Martianist, Tulban, my wife's family's homeland. In fact, though rare, there have been cases of distant relatives dying with symptoms similar to Joshua's. I'll receive the relevant documents soon, but for now, we have hope for the young master's treatment. Logan was astonished. "Is that true? I hadn't thought to contact them." The relationship was strained initially, and after Liam's wife passed, we ceased communication altogether. "It's my fault." Liam shook his head. "How is it your fault? Let's just be thankful we didn't realize it too late." "So, Gordon, do you want to sponsor the child?" Gordon seemed hesitant. "If we combine the treatment we're about to find with her abilities, it will certainly help the young master." However, something bothered him about the 5-year-old. Her eyes seemed to pierce right through him. A child with such potent healing abilities, and those red eyes were a little unsettling. Edwin spoke up, a hint of amusement in his voice. "Isn't he complaining because she took his precious herbs?" Gordon cleared his throat defensively. "Not exactly." But Liam wasn't convinced. "It's a shame. While you find her creepy, I'm quite fond of her. I'll sponsor her somehow. That child is truly adorable. She's like a little rabbit, isn't she? Utterly charming." Logan could hardly believe his ears. Is he calling someone adorable? Edwin agreed. "I also find her eyes captivating. They sparkle like little hearts, don't they? I heard the story, Bells. They say you improved the second prince's condition. Now, explain clearly what happened. Who threatened this little girl?" Bells hesitated. "I only pretended to heal him, as the high priest instructed." "Then why did Duke Callio send this?" "This is an adoption document. The Duke's family regrets the temple's actions and accordingly proposes the following. First, we wish to sponsor the saint candidate, Bells. Guardianship will be transferred to the Duke's family." Bells was taken aback by the Duke's family's offer to sponsor her. "So that's what he meant by sponsoring me," she thought. Secondly, after visiting Bells, we have confirmed that Diana's abilities are ineffective. Therefore, according to the divine teachings, the Duke will not request a refund, but we demand transparency regarding the use of the funds. But now that they know the cause of the illness, there's no reason to sponsor me anymore. They can just call me when they need me, Dunkerski began, his voice laced with a threatening edge. I said the healing was a pretense, didn't I? Bells was truly frightened. I only used a little divine power, pretending to curse her. I didn't expect it to actually work. A sliver of relief cut through her fear. Thanks to this official document, the fact that she had used her divine power couldn't be hidden. Bells tried to explain, but I really did heal her. I was shocked too. It must have been a miracle from the goddess. She told herself she needed to come up with a better excuse. He still didn't understand what a miracle was. Dunkerski was truly furious. Do you know how much you've ruined by actually healing that child? Bells stared in astonishment as purple flames flickered into existence before her. I've never seen flames of that color before, she thought. Dunkerski's words dripped with venom. That child was supposed to die. Those callous fools should be consumed by their stubborn attachment to that child. A chilling suspicion crept into Belle's mind. Did he want Joshua to die? Is that why he had me pretend to heal him? She had to ask, did you want him to die? Dunkerski didn't answer, instead accusing her of spouting nonsense. I gave you a chance, but every time you open your mouth, you only tell lies. The way you question my words, it seems your soul has been stolen. Is anyone out there? Take this child away immediately. Bells struggled against the accusation. Saying I've been stolen is baseless. Bells ended up locked in a prison cell. Cooled down in the repentance room, they sneered, throwing her inside. Dunkerski's expression grew more menacing. If that's the case, then the evil spirit will fall silent, and you can receive your punishment. Bells peered out with a pathetic gaze. I don't want to be locked up here again, losing all my power. The repentance room, a place hidden deep within the temple. Its purpose wasn't for children to reflect. It was a terrifying place used to strip away the special abilities of children said to be blessed by the goddess. By the high priest's will, this was the room's true nature. Hope drained from Bells. I've been locked in this room again. The goddess's voice that the high priest mentioned, and my healing abilities from my past life. We're also trapped and lost in this repentance room. So this time, I have to be careful. I must protect my abilities. A voice announced, it's time for dinner, and a plate of food was tossed into the cell. Bells suddenly realized it was dinner time. She'd been locked up so long she'd lost track of time. Bells told herself she couldn't take any chances. The food might be laced with sleeping pills or an anesthetic. I still don't understand how they take away our abilities. Maybe I'll lose my healing ability because of sleeping pills or an anesthetic. How long will I have to stay like this? Because of the official document from the Duke, they can't keep me locked up here. Since I'm still a child, I can't endure this for long. 2 days at most. Suddenly, Bells heard something. What's that sound? I remember hearing it somewhere before. Finally, it clicked. That's right. This must be what Diana learned in her past life. It's the ancient language. It felt like a magic circle was swirling around her, trying to resist its power. Could this place be leaking magic? Bells tried to stand. It's not that they give the children some kind of drug to take away their abilities. It's this room itself. It's a space that absorbs magic. A wave of dread washed over Bells. I have to get out of this room. Now, I thought I'd only lost my healing abilities in my past life, but that wasn't the case. I lost the magical power that forms the basis of those abilities, so I can't use them. I have to get out of here before my power is taken away again. No, my consciousness is fading. Bells struggled with all her might to resist. Is this really how it ends? I am sorry, Edwin. I really wanted to help you. Suddenly, Bells saw Edwin appear before her. Don't lose yourself. Astonished, Bells wondered why he was here. We don't have much time. I'll explain later. We have to get out of here now. Bells avoided his gaze. But because of me, you can ask for help in a situation like this. Edwin grabbed her arm. Just as they were about to leave, an announcement blared. A prisoner has escaped. Seize her. The two ran to a thicket of bushes. Hide here for a moment. I'll lead them away and come back. Bells clutched his arm in fear. Edwin, you don't think I did it, do you? I didn't try to kill Diana, and I didn't deliver that letter accusing the Duke of treason. Edwin soothed her. Bells, don't cry. Here, take this. He handed her a box containing a heart. Is this yours? Don't neglect it. It must be important to you. Please keep it safe. Bells asked hesitantly, don't you find me disgusting? Don't talk such cowardly nonsense. Members of Calliopes never fall, no matter what happens. Bells suddenly burst into tears. But I'm not a member of Calliopes. Edwin comforted her. My father is preparing to officially register you as a gift for your upcoming 18th birthday. You've been a part of Calliopes for a long time, so don't fall apart over such trivial matters. Someone shouted, the criminal is here. Seize him. Edwin hadn't expected them to have caught up so quickly. He grabbed her hand and pulled her along. A swordsman was right behind them. He raised his sword. Die, you filthy rat of the Duke's family. Edwin instantly shielded her with his body. Bells, get out of the way. Seconds later, Bells was stunned by the scene before her. Edwin, the sword plunged directly into his chest. Bells tried to use her ability to revive him. Just one more time. I can heal you. Why won't the bleeding stop? Bells cried out in vain, tears streaming down her face. Edwin spoke weakly. Don't cry, Bells. Every time I see you cry like this, I feel so helpless, and I don't know what to do. As soon as he finished speaking, Edwin fell still. Bells tried to wake him, but everyone said the Duke's son was dead. Bells leaned down to listen for his heartbeat, but it was gone. As he died trying to save her, Bells truly lost hope. Her heart shattered. She unleashed her most powerful ability. Energy radiated outwards, and the surrounding crowd couldn't escape its deadly embrace. They collapsed, writhing. She's a witch of Calliopes. Bells looked pitifully at Edwin lying there, tears continuing to fall from her eyes. I'm sorry. Everything's all right now, so don't cry, Bells. Bells opened her eyes and saw his form. Are you alive? Bells silently thanked God for his blessing. When Bells awoke, she had thought it was Edwin who had come to save her, but it wasn't. The person holding her was the Duke, and there were people from the temple. Did the Duke rescue me from the cell? Furthermore, Bells still sensed the terrifying energy from the high priest. She immediately felt a surge of relief. I managed to leave before all my divine power was stolen. At that moment, Logan stepped forward to report. I've taken all those involved into custody. Then Liam said to Dunkerski, there are a few things I'd like to ask you privately, so come with me. Liam took out a bag that had been dropped in the hallway and handed it to Bells. Here, take this. This is the medicine you received from Gordon, isn't it? Hearing this, she realized with surprise that Duke Liam had discovered the medicine packet and subsequently arrived at the temple, perhaps sensing immediately that something was amiss. Liam, furious, threatened Dunkerski. You had better explain yourself. My patience is wearing thin. The high priest, Dunkerski, stammered nervously. This situation is easily misunderstood, Your Grace. This is a place of exorcism. Ever since Bells arrived at the Duke's residence last night, an evil spirit has possessed her. I commenced the ritual immediately. Hearing his blatant lie sparked a flicker of anger within Bells. Liam's voice resonated with a heavy disapproval. Even so, how could you treat a potential saint candidate in such a manner? The gods teach us to protect the vulnerable. Yet in a sacred place like the temple, you confine a child to this place. As he spoke, Liam drew his sword. It seems you are the one possessed by an evil spirit. I shall perform an exorcism on you directly. Dunkerski, his composure crumbling, pleaded, Your Grace, please calm down. Just then, another voice echoed through the chamber. What is the meaning of this? It was Pope Montinez too. Dunkerski, bewildered by the Pope's sudden appearance, quickly recovered and offered a strained smile. I came to offer congratulations, Your Holiness. The saint candidate was sent to the Duke's residence to heal his grace. Montinez too surveyed the scene with a discerning eye. Explain yourself. Duke Kalios, who should be meeting with me, is in an extremely suspicious room in the orphanage, sword pointed at the high priest. Dunkerski, desperate, blurted out, This room is merely for educational purposes, Your Holiness. Didn't you entrust all matters concerning the children to me? As they argued, the Pope unexpectedly moved past them, walking directly towards Bells. Do you remember me? He asked gently. Bells immediately replied, Yes, Your Holiness. You are the Pope. I met you when I first came to the temple. Though the memory felt distant now, it remained clear. A gentle smile touched Montinez II's lips. Tell me, what has the high priest done to you? Though fears still lingered, Bells felt a surge of hope. This man, she believed, might listen. This place is called the Repentance Room, she explained, her voice gaining strength. The high priest says disobedient children, possessed by other souls, are confined here. But please believe me, Your Holiness, I have never been possessed by an evil spirit, she added, her voice catching in her throat. Very well, I understand, the Pope said, his voice soothing. Dunkerski was then taken away, Montinez too personally expelling him from the temple. Despite Dunkerski's desperate cries, Your Holiness, please allow me to explain. His pleas went unanswered. Furthermore, the Pope declared, the clergy involved in this matter will be punished according to temple law. This room will be cleansed and sealed. Such abhorrent acts acts should never occur within the sacred temple. Bells was astonished. Even the Pope couldn't decipher the ancient script within the room. Bells desperately wanted to expose the rune's true purpose, that it stole children's abilities, but she lacked the evidence. Still, she found a measure of solace in the knowledge that such a thing was unlikely to happen again. Suddenly, Duke Liam spoke. "Your Holiness, please leave these individuals in our custody. It would be best to report this to the Royal Investigation Department and conduct a thorough inquiry to determine if others were involved." Belle's heart pounded. If the matter went to the investigation department, she realized she might be treated as a criminal. They might even uncover the true purpose behind the theft of the children's powers. However, the Pope hesitated. "This is an internal church matter. Must it go so far?" Liam countered, gesturing towards Bells. "This child is under my future care. As you know, Your Holiness, the guardianship documents have already been signed. I came here to formally sponsor her, but knowing what has transpired, I cannot simply let this go." Finally, the Pope relented. "As you wish. I shall leave the handling of this entire matter to you." Liam, deeply grateful, bowed his head. "Thank you, Your Holiness." At that moment, Bells felt that the Pope was a good person, but he likely only had 4 or 5 years left to live. The white energy indicated his health was declining due to age, something unstoppable. All I could do is pray. May the blessings of the gods be with His Holiness always. Afterward, Bells consulted the Duke, requesting a final conversation with the High Priest Dunkerski. He had raised her until now, and she wanted to say goodbye. But in truth, there were things she needed to confirm before leaving. It was also time for Bells to change how she addressed him. Calling him simply Dunkerski enraged him. You little wretch. Has the Duke brainwashed you?" At that moment, Bells thought, thanks to that dream, I understand. This is the same energy the soldiers who chased me in my past life emitted. I defeated those knights in an instant. Although, I don't know how my past life's enemies use this power. I want to see if my abilities still work. That way, I can protect the Duke's family and Dunkerski, who seems possessed by a demon. After Bells unleashed her power, Dunkerski gradually collapsed, murmuring, "Goddess, please grant me some grace." Having dealt with him, Bells immediately left, causing the attending soldiers to cry out in alarm. "Hey, wake up, get up." Bells rejoiced inwardly. "Good, it seems my skills still work." Then, with a touch of irony, she addressed the fallen high priest. "I'll leave the investigation to you." Just as Bells was about to head upstairs, she unexpectedly encountered Duke Liam. Liam checked Bells' temperature as he spoke, finding her feverish. He immediately ordered Logan to prepare the carriage and contact Gordon, instructing him to examine her at once. Logan suggested temporary treatment at the temple before leaving, but Bells truly didn't want to stay a moment longer. So Liam yielded to her wishes. "Let's go ho, Bells." The scene changed. Bells startled awake. This was before returning. This was the room she used at the Duke's residence. Confused, she thought, I'm completely back at the Duke's mansion. Exhausted from using so much power, Bells had unknowingly fallen asleep in the Duke's arms. I made a fool of myself again. Just then, a maid entered. "Miss, you're awake." She curtsied respectfully. "From today onwards, I am Tara, the maid assigned to care for you. Mississippi pleased to meet you, and I hope to serve you well." At that moment, realization struck Bells, and she reproached herself. How could I forget Tara? Tara was one of the few who had shown her kindness in her past life. Even when she'd acted out or made mistakes, Tara had always smiled, as if seeing the shadow of her younger siblings in Bells. But eventually, Tara had become like the others, casually comparing herself to Diana, assuming she'd be looked down upon, and growing distant and cold. Tara had been the only one on her side in this mansion, a realization that came too late. After all, it was part of the reason she'd been driven out. So, reunited once more, Bells couldn't help but reply with genuine delight. "It's wonderful to see you, Tara. I'm Bells, and thanks to the Duke's patronage, I'll be living here from now on." A wave of true happiness washed over Bells. "Just you wait, Tara. I'll make sure to treat those who are mine well." Later, Bells went to try on clothes. The dress was neither too flashy nor so simple as to invite disdain. In her past life, Bells had been the subject of much gossip regarding her attire, so this time she was confident in her choice. Tara offered to make some slight adjustments to the dress. Then, a sudden thought occurred to her. At the temple, do they even provide the children with what they need to grow? Do they even give them a proper supper? Sensing a strange, murderous intent, Bells called out with a touch of worry, Tara. Just then, Tara's thoughts snapped back to the present. Why was she daydreaming when Bells was right in front of her? She needed to focus on caring for the young lady. Speaking of which, she began, Dr. Gordon heard that Miss Bells fainted and specially prepared a new medicine for her. Bells looked up in surprise. He made more medicine. Tara said brightly, although your fever has subsided, Miss, since you're often ill, it's best to take this. Bells accepted the medicine, but suddenly thought it seemed far too expensive. Closing her eyes, she drank the entire dose in one gulp. Just then, a sharp voice cut through the air. What are you doing? It was Mrs. Casten. If you're ready, you must bring the child down immediately. Her words startled both Bells and Tara. But, you said 3 o'clock, Tara explained, bewildered. Because the young master is waiting, you said to come down as soon as Miss Bells was ready. Mrs. Casten sniffed. The young lady shouldn't have set foot in this ducal residence in the first place, she retorted. If it were before, that you would only be allowed in to treat the young master. I expect the young lady to fulfill her designated task. Tara bristled with indignation. Mrs. Casten, that's incredibly rude to Miss Bells. But Bells stepped forward. It's all right, Tara, she said calmly. She's right. Mrs. Casten had been a loyal servant of the late Duchess and held a position of considerable trust within the household. It wouldn't be wise to antagonize her. Mrs. Casten, Bells continued, I will go and treat the young master. Please lead the way. The Duke had brought her here, so she needed to maintain a semblance of decorum. But she could feel their unfriendly gazes upon her. If she could prove her ability to heal Joshua's affliction, perhaps they would accept her. Mrs. Casten nodded curtly. Follow me. I'll show you the way. Bells went to see young Master Joshua, who waved at her. Hello, sister. She was surprised to see Dr. Gordon there as well. Looking at Joshua, Bells felt a small wave of relief. The energy within him didn't seem to have worsened. First, Bells spoke with Dr. Gordon for a moment. He seemed quite proud of his skills, boasting about the remarkable effectiveness of the medicine. He also offered to treat Bells if she was still experiencing any pain. She gratefully accepted. I look forward to your help in the future, Dr. Gordon. Then, turning to Joshua, she said, Young master, if you can endure today's treatment, you won't need to take any more medicine after this. Joshua's eyes widened. No more medicine. Bells nodded. She added that if Joshua could bravely withstand the treatment, she would tell the Duke, and he would be rewarded on the condition that he didn't cry. Bells began the treatment. This time, it required a delicate touch, like extinguishing the last embers of a fire. She recalled the sensation of using her power on the high priest. To prevent the illness from taking root and spreading further, she had to be precise and meticulous. After a while, Bells finally found it. Just a little more. Almost there. Just as she was about to complete the treatment, Mrs. Casten burst into the room. Stop! Immediately, she cried. Isn't the young master in great pain? Dr. Gordon jumped. Mrs. Casten, what's the matter? Can't you see we're in the middle of treatment? As the two argued loudly, Bells slowly regained her composure. Mrs. Casten's interruption had nearly caused her to make a mistake, forcing her to quickly withdraw her power. Still, the energy had lessened considerably. If only she could have continued just a little longer. Gordon and Casten were still bickering, but Bells was more concerned about Joshua's condition. Just as she opened her mouth to ask him how he felt, Mrs. Casten accused her. Isn't it because of you that the young master's condition has worsened? Suddenly, Joshua began to squirm, complaining of discomfort and itching all over. This worried her even more. Just then, the bandage on the wound unexpectedly came loose, shocking Gordon. The wound had truly healed. Bells decided then and there to make things clear to Mrs. Casten and prove her abilities. As you can see, she declared, I can heal the young master. Although the young master's illness has been cured and he has just passed an important milestone, she continued, he still requires further treatment. Each step must be handled with even greater care and precision. I would have completed the process smoothly just now, but if I am pushed away before I can gather all the energy, then the young master could be seriously harmed. Therefore, I hope there will be no more interruptions to my treatment like what happened today. Hearing these words, Mrs. Casten couldn't help but feel flustered. She abruptly stood up in anger, but Joshua stopped her. It was your fault, he said. You pushed her away. She was about to heal me, and she told me that if you do something wrong, you should apologize first. Hearing this, Mrs. Casten realized her embarrassing predicament. She immediately stood up and apologized to Bells, explaining, I was worried that something might happen to the young master. so my behavior was rude. If there's anything that displeased you, please punish me. Bells immediately responded, no. On the contrary, I want to make a promise myself. Young master, I will definitely cure you. Please trust me one more time. Afterwards, Bells and Gordon continued their discussion. If the treatment continues, Bells stated, a pain-relieving component must be added to the medicine. Gordon agreed with Bells' idea. Blue firefly essence is excellent, he said. This medicine both doubles the effectiveness and has analgesic properties. At this moment, Bells suddenly realized that her power remained the same, but the healing effect had significantly increased thanks to the synergy with Dr. Gordon's medicine. Naturally, the two of them would continue to cooperate and help each other in treating Joshua in the future. Just then, Edwin walked in to check on Joshua. Is the treatment finished? He asked. Bells was quite surprised. She thought it might be because she hadn't expected to see him again so soon. Every time they met, she felt a little awkward. Edwin then inquired about Bells' condition. She quickly replied, I'm fine now, Edwin. But when she was near Edwin, Bells suddenly became clumsy and flustered. Could she really address him so intimately? It was probably better to stick with young Duke. Unexpectedly, Edwin stepped closer and said, we decided to call each other by name from the next time we meet. Joshua, excited, ran to Edwin's side. Ignoring his brother's words, he insisted that in their household, any woman was to be addressed as sister, so Bells was also his sister. This annoyed Edwin. Joshua hurriedly changed the subject. He said that when Sister Bells shone her light, the wound healed completely. It was a pity he couldn't see it. The effect was truly amazing. Hearing this, Edwin felt relieved and asked if the wound had fully healed. Just then, a strange voice startled Bells. Who was that just now? It was Mrs. Casten, who now looked displeased at seeing Edwin. It's probably because of me, Bells thought. There are rumors that I'm not as good as Diana, but why is she acting this way towards Edwin too? Just as Edwin was about to examine the wound on Joshua's leg, Mrs. Casten stopped him. She sternly exclaimed, Young master, isn't it time for your swordsmanship training? You should be in the training room right now. The atmosphere immediately became heavy. Fortunately, Gordon intervened in time. As you said, he addressed Mrs. Casten. The young master needs to rest and recover his strength. That's all for now. Everyone can leave. Just as she was about to leave, Joshua called out to Bells' sister. He whispered in her ear, Can you grant the wish I told you about earlier? This left her wondering, is that all right? Finally, Bells agreed and asked Joshua what he wished for. He smiled and replied, Let's play together then. The scene shifted to Gordon, who was chatting with Edwin. You must be busy, yet you still make time to come here. Edwin replied, I just had some free time before swordsmanship training begins. He also inquired about Bells' new medicine, to which Gordon answered, Yes, I prepared a new medicine for her while I was making the young masters. Hearing this, Edwin added, Please keep a close eye on Bells. She tends to overwork herself. Gordon responded meaningfully, It seems you're particularly concerned about Bells. This caused Edwin to retort, both embarrassed and flustered. I'm just grateful that she's treating Joshua. If you're going to continue with this useless chatter, then leave. At that moment, Gordon commented that Mrs. Casten's prejudice seemed to have worsened since the day the young Duke and Joshua went out for a walk together. Gordon suggested speaking with the Duke, but Edwin refused. He added, After my mother, whom I cared for all my life, passed away, according to my father, she's probably been having a hard time ever since. Perhaps that's why she's particularly attached to Joshua, who bears a strong resemblance to my mother. Although Gordon thought it was disrespectful even considering that, Edwin reasoned Joshua was injured due to my negligence. So I can understand Mrs. Casten's feelings, as that injury put Joshua in danger. It's been a long time since I've seen such an expression on Joshua's face. I'm just glad to know he's no longer in pain. Meanwhile, Joshua was delighted. Sister, look, this is a diamond, and this is an emerald from our family's mine. Bells, curious about his wish, hadn't expected it to be playing with these precious gems. Joshua even gave Bells a ring. This was our mother's favorite. I wish I could wear it every day, but my hands are still too small. I can't wear it, so I sometimes take it out to play with. Hearing this, Bells understood. This was Joshua's way of preserving his mother's memory. But wait, if the ring was too big to wear, then Bells had an idea. If she did this, Joshua could carry it with him without having to wear it on his finger. This is just a temporary solution. Later, I'll have the Duke find a necklace that truly suits you. This both touched and excited Joshua. I love it. Thank you, sister. I really like it. Just as they were enjoying themselves, Mrs. Casten's voice rang out, Young master, it's time to stop. And Tara is here to fetch Miss Bells. You should return to your room now. but Joshua wanted to play a little longer. Seeing this, Belle smiled and said, "We'll play again next time. I'm living in the Duke's residence now, too." Joshua brightened at this. Okay, then the two of them competed to see who could put the gems away the fastest. Suddenly, Bells remembered that Mrs. Casten seemed calmer when she left earlier. In her past life, Bells had never seen Mrs. Casten and Edwin converse, and she was completely unaware that their relationship was so strained. Had something happened between them before she came to this residence? Unable to suppress her curiosity, Bells asked Tara about Edwin and Mrs. Casten's relationship. "Have you seen them together? They don't seem to get along very well. I was just wondering if something had happened." Hearing this, Tara hesitated before answering. Actually, it probably started with that incident. When the two of them went out together, young Master Joshua had a serious accident. Before that, Mrs. Casten was very much like the late Duchess, doting on the young master. It was because of that incident that their relationship started to become strained. Belle sighed upon hearing the news. In her past life, it was because of that incident that Joshua almost died. Mrs. Casten had always resented Edwin, even though it hadn't actually been his fault. Seeing her mistress like this, Tara consoled her. "Miss is taking good care of him, and the young master is doing well now. I think their relationship will gradually improve." Bells also mentioned the ring in Joshua's jewelry box. Tara asked, "Is it the blue ring Miss spoke of?" Bells worried that it was something she shouldn't touch, but Tara said, "No, not if the young master allows it." She learned that the ring was a particularly cherished item of the Duchess, and the young master often kept it hidden, rarely taking it out to look at. Mrs. Casten had once asked him about it, but he refused to answer. Perhaps it was best not to mention the ring in front of her. This worried Bells as well. So, it was that important. A few days later, at the ducal residence, Liam and Edwin decided to make a short trip to the temple, saying they needed to finalize the procedures for Belle's sponsorship. Initially, Liam had intended to go alone, but Edwin wanted to go there himself to hear everything firsthand. Therefore, Liam had no choice but to give in to the stubborn boy and let him come along. As Liam stepped into the carriage, he didn't forget to instruct Logan, "Thank you for looking after the residents while I'm away." For this reason, the Duke and the young Duke wouldn't be dining at home today. Tara quickly asked, "What do you plan to do while you're not treating the young master?" Bells considered this for a moment, then replied cheerfully, "Could you prepare some paper and a pen for me? I like to practice my writing." Since returning from her past life, Bells had felt overwhelmed. She had met the members of the ducal family sooner than expected. From treating Joshua to other matters, there was so much to do that Bells hadn't yet been able to clearly plan her future. Reviewing the checklist of plans to implement. Regarding the first and second items, Bells was doing quite well. If things continued as they were, she believed the third objective wouldn't be a problem either. But to prevent unforeseen circumstances, Bells needed power. She couldn't continue to rely on the ducal family sponsorship. Because Bells knew where that was, she didn't need to worry about it now. But what about the lost heart? In her past life, Bells and Edwin had indeed left it there. Now, having returned to her past, she didn't know where it was. Although Bells longed to retrieve it immediately, she had absolutely no clues. While she was young, Bells could at least use her poor health as an excuse, but as she grew older, she would undoubtedly face many difficult challenges. Just then, a commotion outside piqued Belle's curiosity. She immediately ran out of the room and asked Tara what was happening. Suddenly, Mrs. Casten arrived with two maids, demanding to inspect Belle's room because the Duchess's ring was missing. Bells panicked upon hearing this news. "The ring is missing." Mrs. Casten presented evidence. A thread from Belle's dress had been found in the hallway connecting the young master's room and Belle's room. "So, please cooperate with us," she said. Tara stepped forward to intervene. "Are you treating Miss like a criminal just because of this?" But Bells still had to open the door for them. She reasoned that since this had happened after her arrival, it was understandable to be under suspicion in this situation. It was best to cooperate to clear her name immediately. Bells then invited them in. "Please, search as you wish." Although the current situation was quite unfavorable, Bells was certain that she and Joshua had put the jewelry away together, meaning someone else must have taken the ring afterward. What was their motive? After all, Bells had even dropped the thread in the hallway. Suddenly, Anna, the maid, cried out. After inspecting it, Mrs. Casten recognized the ring as the Duchess's missing one. Bells, in a state of panic, cried out, "Impossible. I didn't steal the ring." Mrs. Casten immediately retorted, "Then why is it here? This ring was found in your room, Mississippi. This doesn't look good." A wave of fear washed over Bells. The ring had gone missing after she'd handled it, only to be found in her room. The coincidence was damning. Everyone would assume she was the thief. Just then, Joshua appeared. "Stop, Mrs. Casten," he exclaimed, worried about the young master's frail health. Mrs. Casten rushed to his side. "Young master, why are you here? Let me take you back to your room to rest." Joshua, tears welling in his eyes, pleaded it can't be her. "She made a necklace for me with mother's ring." Mrs. Casten, left with no choice, embraced Joshua and tried to soothe him. "Calm down. Tell me everything." Hearing their baseless accusations, a sudden realization struck Bells. "Wait, the thread attached to the ring. You found the thread, didn't you, Anna?" Bells asked. Anna replied, "Yes. This was the answer, Bells, I've been searching for." She continued, "Strange. Besides myself, the only people who saw me make the necklace with the thread from my dress were Joshua, Mrs. Casten, and Tara. So how did you know about the thread from my dress being tied to the ring?" Anna, flustered, retorted, "Surely you don't believe this child. I have no quarrel with Miss. Why would I go through the trouble of framing her?" Bells stammered when suddenly a voice boomed. "That is something we need to investigate." Startled, Bells turned to see Duke Liam. He immediately ordered, "Arrest her." Edwin was also present. Liam insisted on investigating the matter personally. Mrs. Casten spoke up. "Your Grace, there's no evidence yet. This is going too far. I know this girl well." Suddenly, Anna cried out, "There's nothing to investigate. The ring was found in this room, so she must be the culprit." Liam roared, "Anna, how dare you be so insolent before the Duke? Even if Bells isn't the culprit, the true criminal is the one who dared to touch the belongings of the Lord. They deserve to be punished, and the crime of insulting a member of the ducal family will be added to that. Bells is Joshua's healer and a recognized member of the Kaleo family. Disrespect towards her is disrespect towards me." Bells was touched by his words. He trusted her. Edwin added, "You'd best pray during the investigation that there's no evidence proving your guilt, because the Kaleo family does not forgive those who dare to offend it. If discovered, you will not escape the harshest punishment." Mrs. Casten pleaded weakly to the Duke. Anna isn't that kind of person. But suddenly, Anna fell to her knees and begged, "Please spare my life. Loan sharks come every day demanding payment. I'm drowning in debt. I want to steal something to repay them. I overheard a conversation between Logan and Mrs. Casten, so I knew the location of the jewelry box and the ring. So I stole them. But the ring was discovered missing sooner than I expected, and I was terrified that my crime would be exposed." Finally, Liam summoned the guards to take Anna away. Despite her pleas and repentance, "I won't do it again, Your Grace," the matter was settled. If the Duke and Edwin hadn't arrived, Bells would have been wrongly accused. Meanwhile, Mrs. Casten was overcome with guilt. She then exclaimed, "Miss, I apologize. I was so worried about the Duchess's missing ring that I suspected you based on flimsy evidence." Bells thought to herself, "I apologize for my rudeness back then. It was a perfectly understandable situation, and she hadn't truly expected an apology." But she replied cheerfully, "Thank you for apologizing, Mrs. Casten. I'm fine. Let's get along from now on." But Mrs. Casten said, "No, Miss Bells, I want to take responsibility for this." Overwhelmed with guilt over the stolen ring incident, Mrs. Casten decided to leave the Duke's household. Despite Joshua's pleas, she remained resolute, determined not to tarnish the family's reputation. She truly was leaving, wanting to depart the estate quietly and quickly. Only Bells and Joshua saw her off. Though she didn't want to leave, she felt she must. "If I stay here any longer, I'll inevitably end up searching for the Duchess's shadow in the young master. I fear that in the name of protecting him, I might unintentionally isolate him. And this time, I was wary of Miss Bells, the young master's benefactor, even suspecting her of the theft. It's time for me to step away from all of this." Joshua's words surprised her. She misses mother just like I do. The Prince game she taught me was really fun because I could freely play with the keepsakes mother left behind. However, at some point, her expression became sad whenever she looked at mother's things. So I hid the ring, not letting anyone touch it. If I had known we would part like this, I wouldn't have done that. Mrs. Casten was deeply moved. "Don't cry, young master. I've been so happy serving such a kind young master." Witnessing this scene, Bells thought that she could live well in this life. It was a shame things had turned out this way. Then, Mrs. Casten turned her attention to Bells. Well then, Miss Bells, please take good care of the young master. Suddenly, Bells felt a surge of resolve. Though she had felt inadequate when witnessing Diana's treatment, she would do her utmost for Joshua. That wasn't what Mrs. Casten meant to say. That's not at all, Mississippi. You're not lacking in any way. On the contrary, if I ever have the chance to see Miss Diana again, I'd tell her that Miss Bells needn't worry about a thing. But Bells still didn't understand. What do you mean? Mrs. Casten explained. When Miss Diana visited the estate before, she worried about Miss Bell's weaker healing abilities and often asked me how to comfort you. But now that you're here, she'd be truly relieved. If Diana had mentioned Bell's weak healing abilities while at the Duke's estate, Bells now understood why the people there didn't trust her. Then why would Diana say such a thing? Was she truly worried about me, or was there another reason? Joshua asked from behind her, Bells, are you all right? You've been staring out the window silently. Bells replied, because Mrs. Casten is suddenly leaving, I feel bad. He seemed deeply saddened by Mrs. Casten's departure. Bells had never seen Joshua so upset. He would likely be lonely for a while, so she needed to stay by his side. But I haven't seen Edwin in a while. Joshua said, oh, if it's him, he's probably at the training grounds now. It's time for his swordsmanship lesson. He doesn't want anyone to see him practice, so I've never seen it either. Edwin was so sly. He had excelled at swordsmanship since childhood. When they were younger and he was training, Bells had longed to watch, but knowing he disliked it, she knew it would be rude to peek. That's a shame. Then let's play swords. Joshua exclaimed excitedly. Great. After a few days of tumult, the ducal residence quickly returned to its usual tranquility. Two notable changes occurred since the incident with the Duchess's ring. First, the servants' attitudes towards Bells had shifted considerably. Second, with Mrs. Casten's departure, Joshua had a new caretaker. Bells believed that despite missing Mrs. Casten, Joshua, being so young, would surely recover quickly and return to his cheerful self. Whenever she had free time after caring for Joshua, Bells would venture into the forest alone, searching. Her purpose was to secure a source of income. Where could it be? My source of income, the fairy herb. I'm searching for the fairy herb, a mystical medicinal plant mentioned in the original story. It's said to possess miraculous, beautifying properties and supposedly grows only in the ducal family's gardens. Clinging to this belief, I've been diligently searching these past few days. The original story clearly stated it was nearby, but it seems I'll be returning empty-handed again today. Suddenly, Bells heard a sound, the clang of steel. Right, there's a training ground nearby. Could be Edwin practicing. Sure enough, Edwin was practicing his swordsmanship. Bells stealthily approached to observe. It really was him. Surely, peeking for a moment wouldn't hurt. I'm so curious. What should I do? As long as I'm not caught watching. Wonderful, it really is Edwin. But another voice, laced with irritation, cut through the air. How many times must I tell you? Your posture is wrong. You're wriggling on the ground like a worm. With such pathetic, worm-like swordsmanship, how can you possibly lead the ducal family? Bells hadn't expected such harsh words, even during training. The voice, belonging to Joliak, continued its relentless critique. How many times have I told you to relax the strength in your right leg? Are you completely incapable of learning? Edwin's body was visibly exhausted. If I relax my leg while moving, I can gain speed, but against a stronger opponent, I'll struggle to maintain my stance. However, Joliak wouldn't accept such justifications. Do you think such excuses will hold on the battlefield? Come now, pick up your sword again. It dawned on Bells then, if he was Edwin's swordsmanship instructor, it had to be the knight, Sven Joliak. Sven was one of the knights who had once swept across battlefields alongside the Duke. Forced into retirement due to a leg injury, his skills were still highly valued by the Duke, who employed him as Edwin's instructor. In my previous life, whenever I saw Edwin training, he completely refused to demonstrate. I didn't know. Regardless, the intensity of this training was excessive, bordering on sheer torment. Joliak's voice boomed again, tired already. And you're the heir to the ducal family. The future of Kaleo looks bleak indeed. Bells couldn't contain herself any longer. She burst forth, anger blazing in her eyes. Apologize. Don't you dare speak ill of Edwin. What do you know? Edwin is the best heir the ducal family could ask for. He's more capable of leading the Kaleo family than anyone. You know nothing. You understand nothing. Apologize to Edwin. You have no right to say such things. News of Bells' confrontation with Joliak reached Liam's ears. So this is the famed Sven's method, is it? The rumors about the Saintis candidate seem entirely inaccurate. it. Quite unexpected. The girl packs quite a punch. Belle still felt entirely justified. Mr. Sven had no right to say those things to Edwin. Edwin spoke up then, his voice firm. I personally requested this training from Father and Master Joliak. I want to become stronger, quickly. I'm too weak now, unable to protect what I hold dear. Belle's anger gradually subsided. So, berating the ducal family is part of the training regime. Joliak explained, indeed. It's a form of provocation. Emotions can fluctuate unexpectedly during a duel, destabilizing one's swordsmanship. I don't want the boy to be swayed by such taunts. Belle's felt a blush creep up her cheeks. Oh, so that's how it is. Liam had just asked her a question. Have you heard of the Shadow Order? Belle's replied, back at the temple, I heard they were the Duke's representatives protecting this country. That was precisely what Liam wanted to address. That's right. The Shadow Order are the Duke's living weapons, operating mainly in the shadows, and have been the Duke's right hand for generations. But Belle's didn't understand why he'd suddenly brought up the Shadow Order. After a moment of contemplation, Liam said, actually, Edwin has applied to the Order to become a member, saying he could join if he defeated Finn. Now Belle's understood. This was what Edwin had meant by wanting to become stronger. That's why Mr. Finn has intensified his training. After all, the leadership of the Shadow Order is being challenged. Liam added, he's a friend who saved my life and the person I trust most, so don't blame Mr. Finn too much. Belle's thought, it seems the Duke respects Joliak a great deal. In that case, I should make sure this doesn't cause him any more trouble. I'm sorry, Mr. Finn. Joliak chuckled softly. It's all right. By the way, have you ever considered becoming a knight? This young lady also has quite the talent. Seeing the situation heading south, Liam interjected, stop teasing her. You'll make the child cry again. Joliak laughed heartily. It's not entirely a joke. I saw some of your merits today. I admire the courage you showed trying to save the young master. But courage that leads to self-sacrifice can cause bigger problems. Nobody wants that. But Edwin didn't understand. Bells, why are you at the training grounds? That's not a place for you. Bell's gaze shifted slightly. Lately, I've been reading about medicinal herbs. I was curious about what kind of herbs might grow in the Duke's forest. Edwin's curiosity was piqued. Herbs? What kind of herbs are you talking about? Bells described the herb I read about has pink, heart-shaped leaves and a pleasant, sweet fragrance. I suppose Edwin wouldn't know where it is either. He thought for a moment. Heart-shaped, if it's that one. I know where it is. Is it really that rare? As she spoke, Belle still couldn't meet his gaze directly. Of course, it's an extremely rare herb, one that even Mr. Gordon doesn't have in his collection. How did Edwin know? It seemed recalling it was a bit difficult for him. Actually, before Joshua was injured, he and I often explored around the Duke's estate. We found a place back then. Bells didn't press further. I see. But, Edwin, you have a cut on your cheek. He touched his face. It seems I got it during training, just now. It'll heal on its own if I leave it alone. Suddenly, Bells touched Edwin's face. Wait, I'll heal it for you right away. But Edwin, push your hand away. Don't. You don't know how much strain using magic puts on you. Don't waste your magic on a small injury like this. Bells persisted. That's when I'm pushing myself beyond my limits. But I'm perfectly healthy now, so it's all right. Edwin was exasperated. You always say it's all right, even when it's difficult. My teacher is right. Sometimes you're too strong. Have you ever thought about how the people waiting for you to wake up would feel if you push yourself too hard and collapsed? Did I frighten you? I'm sorry, I raised my voice. Bells was touched by his words. Are you worried about me? Edwin's face immediately flushed. He didn't try to hide it. Well, yes, I am worried. After Bells went back, she truly wanted to repay the ducal family. She thought, it doesn't matter what happens, but if someone cares about me like this, I understand, Edwin. I won't make you worry anymore from now on. If she yearned for a future with them, would that be all right? Gordon bandaged Edwin's wound. All right, all taken care of. Even if it's related to the command of the Shadow Order, Mr. Finn's training has become increasingly harsh. Are you really all right, young Master Edwin? Edwin said quietly, never mind. That incident was over now. Even Bells thought so. Yes, thanks to the Duke, all misunderstandings have been cleared up. Truthfully, Mr. Sven's training was a bit harsh. Edwin knew this best, as the one being trained. Are you really all right? Gordon suddenly called out to her. Bells, come here and let me see your hand. This medicine contains release, the one you mentioned. You won't faint anymore, right? Bells excitedly accepted the medicine bottle. Yes, thanks to this, I've been feeling much better lately. Thank you. Gordon pointed at the bottle. Yeah, well, I used all my precious medicinal ingredients to make this for you. Bells said, "By the way, I have something for you too, something even better than release." Gordon, more than anyone, was terrified of her. "Enough. I'd rather eat flea liver." Gordon's nose twitched, catching a strange scent. "Wait, this smell is... Could it be fairy herb?" In his past life, Gordon also had a hobby of collecting and gathering herbs from all over the country. There were a few gaps in his herb collection, and one of them was the fairy herb. Seeing it, Gordon was extremely flustered. "Kid, no, where did you get this?" But Bells wouldn't reveal her source. "It's a trade secret." Edwin asked curiously, "Sir, is this herb really that precious?" "More than precious." Gordon spoke with confidence when it came to this topic. "Of course, fairy herb is a rare herb with miraculous effects on the skin. There are even records stating that when used as incense, it can make skin as smooth as a fairy's." Hearing this, Bells also wanted to try cultivating it. It seemed Gordon knew a lot about this. If it works, it could be used in many different areas, but with just this much, there's no hope of cultivation before it even begins. Bells interjected, "Then if I bring more, there's a chance it could work, right?" Gordon was surprised. "There's more of this, right here." But Bells said, "That's a secret. If you don't help me, I can't tell you." Because Gordon really needed it. "Wait, when did I say I wouldn't help? I'm saying it'll be difficult with just this little bit. If you can provide more information, I'll consider it." He'd fallen right into Bells' trap. "I found it in a place with very little sunlight." "Ah, it was growing next to a dead tree. Will that help?" Because it was a shady place, there weren't any other herbs or trees around. "I didn't see any other noticeable plants." Gordon pondered. "So it's a parasitic plant. Next time, bring back the bark at least, and some of the surrounding soil to try." Bells smiled inwardly. Just a moment ago, he'd said it was impossible. As expected of Gordon, she knew his skills were nothing to worry about. Afterwards, Gordon asked her, "But what do you plan to do with it once you cultivate it?" "Fairy herb is good for the skin, but it's too bitter. It's not the kind of herb you can make tea with, is it?" Diana in the original story had also made sachets because of this, not tea, but because sachets required a considerable amount of the herb, and due to the inability to solve the cultivation problem, only a small quantity was ultimately produced. However, Bells, with just a small amount, knew how to preserve the fragrance more effectively than a sachet, and that was a trade secret. Gordon said exasperatedly, "Enough, kid. You're not even in business. How can you have so many trade secrets?" "Well, I'm thinking about why I should even show you this." Bells interrupted, "I will give it to you. Whether it's about the rules or anything else, this is just something I'm giving to you. This herb, you said you wanted it, and that's certainly true. This is an official bribe. If it's Gordon, I think I can trust and entrust this precious herb to you. Because it's you, Gordon, that's why I trust and entrust it to you." Gordon tightly clutched the pouch containing the fairy herb. "Trust me, Bells, I can cultivate any amount of that herb you want." Bells felt she had succeeded. The problem of mass cultivating the herb had been solved just like that. This is just the beginning. In this world, there are medicines, doctors, and even saints who can heal the dying in the blink of an eye, things noble ladies care most about. But there are no skin clinics that can help slow down aging and improve beauty. So I'm going to rely on the fairy herb to pioneer a skin clinic business in this world. Gordon will be the director of the skin clinic, and I will be the president, living a comfortable life. Gordon asked dubiously, "So what's the purpose of cultivating this? Is it a trade secret?" "Indeed, if this herb can be cultivated, it will bring tremendous development to the medical industry. So I want to be involved in this plan as well. In other words, I'm your partner. If you tell me the location, I can cultivate it faster." Bells wasn't easily fooled. "I'll let you know if I succeed in cultivating it. This herb takes about 3 months to grow, and to be safe, the integrity of the cultivation site must be maintained." Tara reappeared. "Gordon, stop arguing with Miss Bells. Both of you, your arguing can be heard outside. Honestly, I don't know who's 5 and who's 65. Miss, the Duke is looking for you." Edwin wanted to go too. "Then I'll go as well. I have something to say, too," Tara said. "The Duke said he has important matters to discuss with Miss Bells only. If you have something to say, I'll convey it to him." The young Duke. Bells felt a little surprised. "Only me for important matters. What does he want to talk about?" Miss Bells had arrived, and Duke Liam had been waiting for her. "It's probably not about the expenses that he called me here. Don't be too nervous. Actually, I was going to give this to you later, but due to everything that's happened so far, I've made a decision. Before Bells was a place she had never seen before. Is this a secret passage? Liam turned and said, "Follow me, Bells. I have someone I want to introduce you to." Bells couldn't see the end of the passage. There was such a secret passage hidden within the ducal residence, something he had never told her about, even in her past life. Seeing her unease, Liam supported her. "I apologize for the trouble. The way down is dark and easy to fall, so you must be careful. If you feel uncomfortable, I'll carry you down." Bells felt a little awkward. "Thank you, Your Grace." He was smiling. Because he always had a stern and intimidating demeanor, she always felt distant. Now he wasn't as frightening as before. On the contrary, every caring and considerate gesture felt incredibly warm. Liam explained, "This is the passage to the secret vault, which only the head of the Calios family is allowed to enter. In the religious war that took place hundreds of years ago, you know the Calios family participated in that war, right? This secret vault was built to store the spoils of war." Bells exclaimed, "That's Arcea's arrow." Liam nodded. "It seems you've been studying the scriptures diligently. It said that the first saint used it to destroy monsters." Bells continued, "That's a heretic's ring." Liam agreed. "You're also knowledgeable about heretical items. There are not only sacred relics here, but also many spoils of war plundered from the heretics at that time. These were all things Bells had only seen in the scriptures." "Is he showing me these things?" Liam pointed to something ahead. "That's the gift I want to give you. This isn't an ordinary teddy bear. It's a special item made by a minority group. They believe the souls of gods reside in dolls. Say hello to Bells. From now on, it will be responsible for protecting you." Bells accepted it. "This doll is soft and cute. Is this my bodyguard? No matter how I look at it, it's just an ordinary bear." Liam chuckled. "Yes, for now. Now you just need to imbue it with holy power, and this teddy bear will become your bodyguard, and also proof that you are under the protection of the Calios family." Bells cautiously channeled her holy power, much like when she had healed Joshua. "This is a gift from the Duke, prepared especially for me. Even if it's my first time, I have to succeed. The bear is absorbing my holy power," she thought, "and it's taking much more than when I healed Joshua. It would be disastrous if I collapse again. What should I do?" Seeing her struggle, Liam offered reassurance. "Don't worry, Bells. You're doing well." Bells' resolve strengthened. "Yes, this is the Duke's first gift to me. I have to try harder, just a little bit more. There, it's done." Liam declared, "The pact has been established." But Bells was confused. "Your Grace, nothing happened." Liam explained, "Now you just need to give the bear a name." Bells looked at it uncertainly. "Give it a name?" To suddenly ask me to name it. Liam gently guided her, "Just choose any name. Something easy to say, easy to remember." Finally, Bells named it Dolly. Suddenly, the bear floated into the air. Not only that, but it also began to speak. "Greetings, everyone. I am Dolly the bear, Bells' protector." Bells threw her arms wide. "Bear, not Dolly the bear." Liam mused. Perhaps she had incorporated her slight stammer into the name. From that day forward, the Duke began showering Bells with gifts, starting with Dolly the bear. This was, ostensibly, to declare that she was under the Calios family's protection. It began with the relocation of her quarters, keeping Tara and the housekeeper extremely busy. "Please put Mrs. clothes next to that wardrobe. Please place them by the window. Hurry, this must be finished today." Her room gradually filled with new clothes, jewelry, and even furniture. Feeling she was only in the way, Bells stepped outside. "There's nothing to do. Joshua is probably doing breathing exercises today, and Gordon is busy cultivating the fairy herb." Just then, the housekeeper handed her something. "Please be careful, miss. It's quite heavy. The young master is currently training with Mr. Span at the training grounds. It should be his break time now. Please give this to him." Bells accepted the package excitedly. "I'm going to see Edwin. It's the housekeeper's request. I'm definitely not going for personal reasons. I wonder if Edwin is still doing that training today. It's for leading the Shadow Order, but the training is so harsh. I hope they change the training method. This might be wishful thinking, but fighting Mr. Span is like a real war, like the strong bullying the weak. Of course, the Duke wouldn't allow that, so there shouldn't be any danger. He's still training. I'll have to wait a while." As she entered, she heard Joliak's voice. "Your right foot is still touching the ground." Bells hadn't expected them to be using real swords. "He's training with real swords now." Edwin glanced back as he spoke. "Not tired yet." Joliak remained oblivious. "Your attitude is good, but enemies on the battlefield won't forgive you. Even if you beg, it won't help. A weak commander only sacrifices his subordinates. Edwin didn't let the words affect him. Mr. Span gets violent when he's excited, regardless of his opponent. If Mr. Span sees Bells now, I don't know what will happen. I can't let him find her. Noticing Edwin kept looking behind him, Joliak asked, "Since when did you become so distracted? Is there something behind me?" But Edwin stopped him before he could turn. "Mr. Span, do you regret saving my father that day?" Joliak's gaze became vacant. "What's the reason for asking that now?" Edwin elaborated. "Because you mentioned a weak commander, I thought you might regret the sacrifice you made that day." Mr. Span intensely disliked any mention of the incident. "At least if his attention is on me, Bells won't be in danger. Let's finish this match quickly." Meanwhile, Joliak sighed and looked towards the sky. To be so freely curious about this during a real sword fight, you must be quite confident in your abilities. "Very well. If you can best me in this match, I'll answer you." "Edwin, focus. Watch your left foot. A strong attack is coming. I have to create some distance." "What's wrong? Where's he looking? Could it be Mr. Span?" He sensed Bell's presence from the start. Joliak lunged towards Bells, Edwin shouting futilely, "Run, Bells." "Span, there's something else I wanted to tell you." "Damn it. The distance is too great. I can't stop him." Joliak closed in on Bells. Someone so conceited about their swordsmanship can't protect anything important. Bells stood frozen, watching the imminent danger approach. The sword was nearly upon her. Looking at the man before her, she cried out, "Mr. Span." But then, Joliak's sword was knocked aside, another figure appearing at Belle's side. "What's the meaning of this? Why doesn't it hurt?" Liam's voice was thick with fury. "Span, what are you doing? This seems to require an explanation." Joliak sounded bewildered. "Your Grace, I had no intention of harming the young miss. You should know the trajectory of your sword avoided the miss." Liam was unmoved. "Regardless of your intent, it's best to refrain from actions that could cause harm, because your body is no longer what it once was." Joliak's tone shifted. "What do you mean by that, Your Grace?" Bells felt the shift in the atmosphere. "That's the aura I sense from the sacred mirror." Joliak's voice was grave. "I became like this protecting you." Edwin stepped in front of her. "Bells, don't open your eyes until I say so." Joliak's composure began to unravel. "After ruining everything, you say this. The suggestion that I become this child's teacher. I truly cannot believe it." Liam's voice was calming. "You're agitated. Calm yourself and return later." Joliak looked at him with concern. "Mr. Span, you seem like a different person from when we first met. It sounds like you've been harboring resentment towards the Duke." Joliak's voice rang out again, laced with a chilling determination. "Finally, this is the plan I've cherished, the one I was determined to carry out." Liam's eyes narrowed, his hand flashing out to deflect a dagger. It had been aimed at Bells and Edwin. Bells was stunned. Had he truly intended to harm the Duke? "What's going on now?" Joliak gripped the dagger stubbornly. Liam had anticipated this. "In consideration of your past service, I'll let this go." Joliak was unyielding. "I refuse. Even if I stop here, what I've lost will never return. So, suffer the same despair I have." Liam's sword flashed, stained crimson. "It's all right now," Edwin said. "You can open your eyes." Seeing the scene, a wave of relief washed over Bells. "I can't sense Mr. Span's presence anymore. What in the world happened?" Liam turned to them, his voice gentle. "I'm glad you're both all right. You must have been terrified. Go and rest." Before they could move, Edwin held out something to him. "You have something for me." This note was found in Mr. Span's room. It says, "The most precious thing to parents is their child. I hope whoever stole your precious thing suffers the same pain." Liam took the note, a thoughtful expression on his face. It was a note that suggested someone had been goading Span, and Edwin had given it directly to him. Despite knowing what Span was planning, Edwin had endured the training without telling Bells. In Belle's room, she was bandaging Edwin's wounds. "You told me not to use magic, but if it's not treated, it'll scar, so bear with it." Edwin thought to himself, "If I were a knight, a scar on my face wouldn't matter." Hearing this, Bells bristled. "Don't say that. No, a scar on your face would be a loss for the entire country. It has to be treated with good herbs so it won't scar. Where's Mr. Gordon when you need him?" "Hey, Edwin, couldn't you have stopped Mr. Span?" Thinking back to the purple flames Sir Span displayed, "I still regret it. Perhaps my holy power could have resolved that," Edwin said. Everyone knew Sir Span would cause trouble someday. It's just that today was that day. Long-standing resentment finally erupted over a small gesture. Bells still didn't understand. Then why not request a change of swordsmanship instructor? If the Duke knew, he would definitely. Edwin shook his head. My father owes him a favor. Span was my father's most trusted knight. I heard his swordsmanship was exceptional. Such a subordinate had to lay down his sword just to protect my father. I heard father felt incredibly guilty about it. So he must have turned a blind eye to Span's increasingly disrespectful behavior. So I also thought that if I endured, everything would pass smoothly because the training with Sir Span was almost over. But thinking about it now, I don't know if my progress drove him into deeper despair. Someone took advantage of this opening to instigate Span. Understand, this time it's not your fault. Bells stared at Edwin, then jumped up and hugged him. In my past life, he carried this sorrow too. If something like this happens again, you must tell me, okay? Edwin returned her embrace. Okay, I understand. I promise. The scene shifted to the palace. Looking at Bells's tear-stained, sorrowful face, Edwin Callios was deeply worried. Is Belle still crying? He thought. Let me see if there's anything to change the subject. Edwin immediately noticed the cute teddy bear on the cabinet. That looks nice, he said to Bells at once. That bear, it's the one father sent, right? Bells asked, surprised. How did you know? I received it from the Duke. Edwin said, father showed it to me before. So, is it in teddy bear mode now? Bells replied innocently, to conserve divine power. The Duke told me to keep it like this, since I probably won't need it here. Hearing this, Edwin hesitated. So she probably knows it's a heretical item, too, right? Then he continued to ask, have you tried other modes? Bells looked blank, completely clueless. What other modes? Edwin explained, didn't father tell you? Besides teddy bear mode, there are many other modes, like protection mode, assassination mode, and so on. My favorite is giant mode. It's very useful when you want to climb to high places. Bells listened, fascinated, her eyes wide. Maltagupe said, so there are modes like that. Then she imagined Edwin riding on a giant bear. Looking at her mystified and excited expression, Edwin was puzzled. What are you thinking about? Then Bells asked curiously, was this bear originally Edwin's? You know so much about how to use it. Edwin replied matter-of-factly, because I'm the heir, of course. After today's incident, the schedule should be canceled, right? Let's take a nap together. Though Edwin was almost asleep, Bells, still curious and excited, asked, can Dolly do that? Edwin immediately jumped up cheerfully. So what? We're kids who've been through a lot, right? Watching Edwin grab her hand, Bells just froze, looking down with a slightly sorrowful expression, thinking, I know you've been saying meaningless things to comfort me. Afterwards, Edwin pulled Bells down to lie down and sleep, gently reminding her, we agreed to call each other by name, right? You can't say that anymore now. Bells replied, understood. Edwin reminded her again, but that's saying it too. Bells, grateful for Edwin's concern, just kept looking at him. Though he's young, he's always so gentle. So I really like you. Then, without another thought, Bells fell asleep. The scene shifted to the ducal residence several months later. Bells reflected on the past few months. It's been several months since I came to the ducal residence. During this time, I've been taking care of Joshua, or spending time with Mr. Gordon. Living as a member of the Duke's family, every day felt as blissful as that first wonderful one. Bells gazed idly out the window, a flicker of curiosity sparked by an unexpected sight. A carriage. Why is there a carriage? She wondered. I haven't heard of any guests expected at the residence today. Suddenly, a call interrupted her thoughts. Miss, a guest has arrived. Bells, surprised, questioned, a guest for me. The butler promptly replied, yes, Mississippi. A guest from the Bearloat Marquisate. Lady Diana. Bells hurried to change. As she slipped into a beautiful dress, the maids fluttered around her, their eyes shining with admiration. Oh, miss, you look absolutely perfect, they exclaimed. Bells, however, hesitated. Thank you, she murmured, but is it really necessary to dress so formally? Diana isn't here to see me, but Joshua. In fact, she continued, a note of understanding dawning in her voice. Diana's unexpected, unannounced visit to the ducal residence is because she heard I successfully healed Joshua. I heard she's come to apologize for not being able to heal him herself. Bells had considered this before. Even if Diana could wield holy power, Joshua's unstable condition might have caused the power to fluctuate and fail. Yet, here Diana was apologizing, truly befitting a heroine from a romance novel, a saintess, albeit currently just a candidate. Her personal maid, while arranging Belle's hair, remarked, regardless, Lady Diana specifically requested to see her old friend, Bells. We must show her that we are still well. Hearing this, Bells felt a surge of agreement. Yes, she thought, we haven't seen each other since Diana returned to the Marquise. She must be curious, so I have to make up my mind. I'll take this opportunity to show Diana the clear changes in this life. I'll try to become friends with her. Bells and her maid arrived at the reception room door. The maid knocked excitedly, but Bells fidgeted nervously. The thought of Diana being just beyond that door filled her with an inexplicable tension. The door opened, and the maid announced respectfully, "Miss Bells, please enter." Stepping inside and seeing Diana, Bells froze, as if glued to the spot. 1,000 questions flooded her mind. What should her first greeting be? Long time no see, Diana. No, she should apologize first. But before she could utter a single word, Diana rushed forward and embraced her tightly. "I missed you so much, Bells," she exclaimed warmly. The maid chimed in, adding that Diana had been excited since last night about seeing her old friend. It seemed she was genuinely happy to see Bells. Bells remained puzzled by Diana's past affection. "I made her life difficult at the orphanage," she thought, "yet she welcomes me like this. Silly me. Why did I ever dislike such a kind person?" Finally, Bells softly replied, "I missed you too." Then, Diana turned to her maid, Lily. "Did you bring the pie?" she asked. Bells, confused, wondered why there would be pie. Diana, holding a cake box, explained cheerfully, "I had Lily buy this for us first thing this morning. It's the most famous walnut pie in the region." Diana's maid, putting on an air of dignified importance, added, "Our Lady thought that Miss Bells might never have tasted this delicacy, so she had me prepare it." Not to be outdone, Bells' maid retorted swiftly, "Oh, how thoughtful. The chefs at the ducal residence are quite proud of their own desserts and rarely allow outside sweets. It's a wonderful opportunity to try something different." As it happens, she continued, "We just received a shipment of tea from the royal family. I'll have it prepared and brought out immediately." The two maids exchanged pointed glances, a silent battle of wills sparking between them. Observing this exchange, and slightly embarrassed by the lavish gift, Bells thought, so that person's words worried her. Diana must have said that, because she remembers how I was at the orphanage. After Bells asked her maid, Tara, to take the gifts away, Tara told them, "Now you two can chat comfortably in the reception room." Now, only Bells and Diana remained in the room, simply staring at each other, neither willing to speak first. Outwardly, Bells appeared calm, but inwardly, she was flustered. It was incredibly awkward. She had never had a conflict with Diana because she had never actually spoken to her before and didn't know where to begin. Suddenly, Bells remembered. Right? The first step was to apologize and mend their relationship. With newfound courage, Bells blurted out, "Hey, Diana, there's something I have to say to you. I'm sorry for causing you trouble all this time. From now on, I hope we can get along." Diana listened intently and replied, "I've been worried about you, Bells." Hearing this, Bells was a little surprised. Looking closely at Diana's clear face, Bells thought, ever since then, she seemed to interrupt my words or actions in strange ways. It must just be my imagination. Suddenly, Diana asked Bells, worried. "Worried about what?" Bells answered awkwardly, "The reason you're staying here." Diana continued, "Because I couldn't heal the second young master, I heard you were forced to stay here." Hearing this, Bells was stunned. Then, she asked more clearly, "What do you mean by that?" Diana explained, "So, I listened to the border count. To make me feel guilty, they deliberately brought you a saintess candidate here, lying that you had already healed him." But Bells felt something was wrong. This wasn't how she felt at all. Diana, with a cryptic expression, said, "Even though you can't heal him now." Bells realized it then, too. She tried to calm down and think carefully. Diana is deliberately trying to make me uncomfortable. But Diana pressed on, right? "Why did things turn out this way?" Bells calmly retorted, "Why do you think I can't heal? Although I'm not as skilled as you, I also have healing abilities." "So you're a saintess candidate," Diana said innocently upon hearing this. "Then why did you disappear on the goddess's birthday?" "It must have been because you weren't confident in your abilities, right?" Bells felt hurt, thinking, "Because I didn't want to be constantly compared to you." But she couldn't say those words to Diana's face. Instead, she tried to appear cheerful, feigning a loud laugh. "That place was really boring, and there was nothing interesting about it. You know, I used to be a troublemaker. It's true that I healed Duke Joshua. Hearing this, Diana was utterly astonished, exclaiming in a flustered voice, "What? You really healed him?" Bells further explained, "Actually, I didn't cure the illness immediately. Because I have to continue monitoring and treating him, I had to stay here." Diana waved her hand dismissively. "It's okay, Bells. You can tell me the truth." Bells still didn't understand. "What do you mean by that?" Then Diana rushed closer, urgently threatening Bells. "The Duke has discovered that you were imprisoned by the High Priest." Hearing Diana's words, Bells was shocked, memories flooding back. That bastard High Priest was a man who valued his reputation highly. He had strictly ordered the children who visited the confessional not to spread word of what happened there. Therefore, not only the other children at the orphanage, but especially Diana, a model student, should know the High Priest's true nature. Then, Bells further inquired, "Diana, how did you know I was imprisoned?" Diana acted innocent and pure, replying, "The knight who visited the border count's estate at the palace last time asked about everything before leaving." Hearing that the High Priest was such a person, I was truly surprised. "I heard the confessional has been closed, too." Hearing this, Bells felt something was amiss. She thought, "Wait, Liam Calios once said, I heard the Investigation Bureau will conduct a formal investigation into the existence of the confessional. Because of the temple's image, they decided to keep it confidential. I should have exposed his face to the entire nation first." A pang of guilt resonated in Edwin's voice. "Bells, I'm so sorry." Bells, still reeling from the recent revelations about Sir Span, shook her head shyly. "It's all right. Just starting the investigation is enough to make me happy." Diana, her face brightening, continued, "Anyway, I've already secured the Duke's support. You're truly fortunate." Though the confidentiality of the confessional was supposedly absolute, Bells couldn't help but wonder how Diana had learned of these developments. As the situation shifted, the two continued their conversation. Noticing Bells's somber expression, Diana asked with concern if she was feeling unwell, suggesting a piece of the pie, claiming that something sweet might lift her spirits. Bells sat listlessly, a strange unease settling over her. Diana's demeanor felt unfamiliar, almost foreign. "Oh, no thank you," Bells finally replied, her voice subdued. "I'll eat slowly." Diana, seemingly unfazed, simply responded with an "all right." Internally, Bells wrestled with conflicting emotions, wondering if her memories of a past life were influencing her perception of the present. Diana had always possessed this kind of personality, but Bells, younger then, hadn't fully grasped it. She also suddenly noticed flickers of yellow flames, a sign of an immune disorder, like an allergy. Could Diana have an allergy? It didn't seem life-threatening, as she only appeared slightly frail. Eating a small amount might be fine, but caution was still advised. Perhaps it would be best to discreetly avoid it. What was even in this pie? Bells reached for a piece of the cake, a sense of peculiarity washing over her. All the sweets here were things Diana had enjoyed in her past life. Seeing Bells finally take a piece, Diana beamed. "Bells, it's such a blessing to see you today. Actually, I rarely get the chance to indulge in so many delicious desserts. The Marquis always says sweets are bad for my health, so I hardly ever get to eat them." A wistful sigh escaped Diana's lips as she held the pie box. Overprotective, much, Bells thought to herself, piecing together the puzzle. "Oh, so the food here is all stuff Diana could eat without issue in her past life. What's going on?" Just then, Diana took a bite of the cake. "My tongue feels a bit prickly, but it's truly delicious." Bells froze, a jolt of alarm shooting through her. "Prickly," she exclaimed. "Wait a minute, Diana." But Diana continued, taking another bite as several flames flickered around her. Diana seemed oblivious to what was happening. Suddenly, a fierce yellow flame erupted in front of her. Panic seized her, and she froze, paralyzed with fear. "Diana, spit out now!" Bells shrieked, her voice laced with terror. Diana immediately obeyed, desperately trying to expel the cake from her mouth. Bells couldn't comprehend the sheer intensity of the reaction. Diana, losing control of her limbs, began to thrash. With considerable effort, Bells managed to restrain her. "Diana, calm down." Bells pressed down on her, checking for any signs of choking. "I have to get the rest out of her mouth before she suffocates." Hearing the commotion, Diana's maid rushed into the room, her face etched with worry. "What's wrong, my lady?" Bells, relieved by the maid's arrival, began to explain, "Ah, you're here, Diana." But before she could finish, the maid shoved Bells aside, her voice sharp with accusation. "What have you done to my lady?" She frantically shook Diana. "My lady, are you all right?" Bells, thrown off balance by the forceful push, struggled to regain her footing. Just then, a familiar voice called out her name. "Bells." It was Edwin, accompanied by Tara. Diana's maid, her face pale with panic, cried out, "My lady's body feels strange. She can't breathe. What did you feed her?" The scene triggered a chilling flashback for Bells. Could this be another poisoning attempt, like the one orchestrated by the former Crown Prince's men? The day she was falsely accused of poisoning Diana's tea. Trembling, Bells stammered, "I really didn't do anything." Seeing Bells's distress, Edwin stepped forward, his voice soothing. "Bells, take a deep breath." Overwhelmed by the surge of emotions, Bells sobbed, "Edwin, I really didn't." Edwin remained steadfast by her side, his words a reassuring balm. "I know you didn't." But Diana's maid, Lily, unaware of the circumstances, cried out, "If there wasn't poison in the cake, how could Lady Diana be like this? Someone call a doctor." Bells, terrified, could only cling to Edwin, unable to bear the sight before her. Edwin turned and glared at the maid, his voice sharp. "Be careful what you say. Don't speak such words against the Duke Liam Callio's family. Are you prepared to take responsibility for your accusation?" He then turned to Tara. "Were the refreshments for afternoon tea all inspected?" Tara replied, "Yes, everything was handled according to protocol. There was absolutely no poison. I can guarantee that." Watching Edwin's actions, Bells felt a surge of gratitude. He had protected her in her past life, and he continued to do so now. A resolve hardened within her. "I can't keep relying on Edwin's help like this." Bells spoke firmly, revealing the truth. "It's an allergic reaction." Then, she focused her magic on Diana. Lily's jaw dropped. "W, what are you doing?" She stammered, bewildered. With a serious expression, Bells began the healing process. "If this continues, Lady Diana will suffocate." Lily, Diana's maid, truly harbored malicious thoughts. "She's probably hoping for that to happen," she thought darkly. Bells poured all her energy into healing Diana. By the time she finished, she was utterly exhausted, drenched in sweat, her eyes heavy with fatigue. But she knew, deep down, that allergies were a matter of constitution and couldn't be completely cured. "This is the best I can do." She addressed the others. "The emergency treatment is complete. For safety's sake, it will be best to get some allergy medication." Just then, Diana stirred, gasping for breath. "Lily," she wheezed. Lily, seeing her mistress awake, exclaimed in surprise, "Heavens! My lady, are you all right now?" Edwin, concerned, turned to Bells. "Are you all right?" Bells managed a weak smile. "I'm fine. I just need a rest." Diana continued to complain to Lily. "Lily, I'm so itchy." Lily looked at her mistress apologetically. "Oh dear." Then, turning to Bells, she pleaded, "Please, could you get rid of Lady Diana's rash? It's terribly uncomfortable for her." "I understand," Bells replied. Inwardly, she sighed wearily. "Fine, I can do this quickly." But Edwin intervened. "She's just expended a great deal of magical energy. Don't ask too much of her." Bells was deeply touched by Edwin's attentiveness, how he stepped in to handle everything for her. His gaze sharpened. "The Duke's steward will be here shortly. Just wait." Lily, hearing this, felt a deep sense of foreboding about her own fate. Moments later, Marquis Barlow arrived, rushing to his daughter's side. "Diana, heavens! I heard you were in danger due to breathing difficulties." Diana reassured him. "I'm much better now." Bells, too, remembered Marquis Barlow from those years. She had witnessed him at the prince's side in her past life, but this was their first encounter in this life, at least according to the evidence she had seen. The records had shown the Marquis and the second prince plotting treason, but everything she'd seen pointed to the crown prince and the Duke's family now. Had the Marquis been involved in that conspiracy? If he harbored such ambitions, then bringing Diana here must be because of her divine powers. Indeed, Barlow only superficially inquired about Diana's health. In hushed tones, he kept questioning Diana. "How are your divine powers?" She replied timidly, "They're fine." Bells recalled how, in her past life, they had also desperately tried to make Diana the saintess. The child had already fallen from grace. What did it matter now if she had healing abilities? Suddenly, Mr. Gordon and Duke Liam Callio's arrived. The Duke's face was etched with displeasure. "This is unsightly." Marquis Barlow began to explain. "No, I was just worried about my child, that's all." Gordon stepped forward and quietly questioned Diana. Are you all right? He glanced at Bells. You're the one who healed her, right? Well done. He added, your first aid was excellent. There's no need to worry too much in this situation. Gordon addressed Marquis Barlow in a loud voice. Thanks to Bells, the situation has improved considerably. All that remains is a rash, which will subside quickly with medication. The Marquis replied, is that so? That's good. Barlow turned to Bells, his words laced with meaning. With a Saintus candidate present, is medication truly necessary? After all, this child is the reason this happened. Shouldn't she be held responsible? Duke Liam retorted angrily, is this Belle's fault? The Marquis stated bluntly, in fact, this happened because I came to see this child. Duke Liam, ever perceptive, said, this child was willing to receive you, even though this meeting wasn't scheduled. So what did this girl do wrong? I understand your distress over the incident involving the child you sponsor, so I'll let it slide this time. However, I suggest you replace the maid attending to the child. A maid who doesn't know about her master's allergies and lets her eat anything. I'm truly worried about the child's health. Lily, hearing the Duke's clear directive, flinched. Marquis Barlow said irritably, are you blaming our maid? Are you blaming the food prepared by the Duke's household? This child didn't know there were plums in it either. Liam looked surprised. Plums? Mr. Gordon said, puzzled, strange. There shouldn't be any food containing plums in this residence. Barlow was taken aback. What do you mean? Duke Liam stated, my second son is also allergic to plums, so the Duke's household doesn't serve any food with plums. If you have any doubts, I can show you the ledgers. At this point, the Marquis understood but couldn't comprehend it. What did the child eat plums then? Belle spoke up. In the walnut cake. In the walnut cake Diana bought. She wanted to share it with me, but the cake tasted of plums. Barlow questioned Lily, the maid. Are you talking about the cake sold in the city center? That cake has plum jam in it. I warned you about it. At this, Diana began to sob. It's all my fault. Bells has loved sweets ever since she was at the orphanage. She gets upset when there aren't enough sweets, so I often share mine with her. Otherwise, she steals food from the other children. But I didn't know there would be sweets with plums. Bells was stunned, unable to believe Diana would lie so blatantly. Marquis Barlow said smugly, see, this child has been causing trouble since the orphanage. Didn't this happen because Diana needlessly bought sweets? Then, having eaten too much, the young miss gave the rest to Diana, right? Lily, the maid, also seized the opportunity to shift the blame, twisting the truth. I remember that child sticking her hand into our miss's mouth. She must have forced the cake on her. Unable to comprehend this nonsense, Bells bravely cried out to clarify. I was helping Diana spit the cake out. That wasn't force-feeding at all. Tara also spoke up. That's right. On the contrary, Miss Bells was injured while helping Miss Diana. Barlow continued to harp on the matter, but the Duke, tired of listening, cut him off. Enough, because that child is Belle's friend. I've overlooked all the disrespectful behavior, but this has crossed the line. I won't ask why the lie was told. Children that age often lie when they're embarrassed. However, I hope this child won't come to the Duke's residence again. Hearing this, the Marquis, startled and worried, pleaded repeatedly. Liam, his gaze cold, said, I trust you understand what I'm saying. Now, let us adults discuss this matter amongst ourselves. Marquis, please return home today. Suppressing his anger with effort, the Marquis said, I understand. He instructed Lily, make sure to take good care of Diana. Take her out now. I'm leaving. Lily replied, clearly. I understood that Diana, still maintaining a facade of amicable divinity, said before leaving, could I say goodbye to Bells before I go? I'd also like to heal the injury on her cheek. Bells, bewildered, glanced at the Duke, thinking, I really want to go inside and rest now, but considering Diana and the Duke family's future relationship, I should probably see this through. Then, Diana released her magic to heal Bells, saying, I'm sorry. Although unpleasant things happened today, I truly just wanted to have a good time with you. Bells tried to endure it, thinking, what is this? Is it? Because this is my first time receiving healing directly. It feels like bugs are crawling on my cheek. I can't stand it anymore. Bells said, Diana, that's enough. Diana retorted, it seems you've gotten smarter. Bells was incredibly curious about why there was such a deep blue energy within Diana's divine power. Then Diana brought her head close to Bells, whispering intimately in a rather sinister way. Could it be because you came to the Duke's family instead of choosing me? Are you still yearning for something of mine? Bells, with a look of fear, asked Diana. What do you mean? Marquis Barlow urged Diana. If you're done, let's go. Diana replied sadly. Yes, Marquis. Then she turned to leave. Bells had something to say, so she kept calling out to Diana. But Diana obediently leaned against Marquis Barlow. Barlow said angrily, so cunning at such a young age. Diana also secretly made up her mind. I'll show everyone who the true saint is. I will definitely repay today's humiliation. Seeing Diana's unpleasant expression, the Marquis asked, "What's wrong, Diana? Why did you stop? Let's go." Diana replied, "Please wait a moment, Marquis." She turned to face Bells. Then, bowing at a 90-degree angle, she said, "I'm sorry. I said those unkind things to you. Actually, I was very sad that I couldn't heal the second young master." The Marquis had to lie to comfort me because he was also troubled. But when I witnessed your ability directly, perhaps I felt a bit jealous. Although I know I shouldn't have, I'm still sorry for hurting you. Bells, can you forgive me? Bells felt a little moved. Yes, I'm back. But right now, Diana is just a child with healing abilities. Being compared for the first time must be a strange and difficult situation to accept. Then, Bells held Diana's hand and said, "Of course, I forgive you. Let's work hard together to become good friends and saint candidates. I will also strive to become a child worthy of being a saint candidate." After that, Bells and Diana parted ways and returned to their respective homes. Diana said goodbye, promising to see Bells again at the goddess's birthday festival. Then, she and the Marquis boarded their carriage and left. The change Diana saw immediately after leaving the Marquis's estate. Everything that happened at the Duke's estate was acknowledged and apologized for. Perhaps it was because I hadn't used my divine power for too long, or perhaps it was the stress of meeting Diana for the first time after returning. Even though she healed the injury on my cheek, I still had to stay in bed for 2 days. The change I saw. A few days later, Bells recovered from her illness. She began to rethink everything inside. Diana resolved everything, but I still feel like something is strange. What was that purple energy I saw from Diana? It looked very similar to the color I saw from the High Priest. Surely, Diana wouldn't have such a malicious aura. That's right, Diana is the future saint, the heroine of the story. She also told me, "Bells, I truly want to be a good saint, so I'll do my best so that no one in this world will suffer anymore." Even I, just because I experienced some things differently from my previous life, doubted such a child. Instead, I should be concerned about the Marquis family. I didn't know it in the past, but it seems the Marquis is already obsessed with Diana's divine power and is even inciting competition. Marquis Barlow has been trying to overthrow the Duke's family. I don't know how I should proceed with my new course of action. If I see any suspicious activity, I must report it to the Duke immediately. I have to keep a close watch. She glanced at the calendar on the desk, realizing the next gathering would likely be the goddess's birthday festival. Time flies. The goddess's birthday festival is almost here. That's the day Diana's healing powers will bloom. It will be the starting point for her to officially demonstrate her talent as a saintess candidate. And on that day, the entire royal family will be in attendance, making things even more complicated. It's the worst possible day. I can't avoid it like I used to, constantly being compared to others. Now, regardless of what others think, I suppose I'm quite fortunate. In this life, I don't care much about other people's opinions, not even about the position of saintess. I don't covet a position by Edwin's side at all. They'll sort it out amongst themselves. From the beginning, I was content with my position as a child sponsored by the Duke's family. I will repay the Duke's kindness. Suddenly, Mr. Gordon appeared, asking Bells, "Are you in here?" Bells replied, "Yes, I am." He said, "I've been looking everywhere for you." Bells, curious, asked what's wrong. He responded, "Why was I looking for you, you ask?" Then, Mr. Gordon announced with an excited laugh, "Finally, success. I've successfully cultivated the elf grass." Hearing this, Bells was overjoyed, her eyes sparkling with delight. "Finally, my source of income is..." But a few seconds later, her voice fell. "But is this all? It's only about half the amount I usually gather." Mr. Gordon jumped. "Only this much. This is a legendary herb with no recorded cultivation methods. Succeeding without killing the plant is already a miracle. Do you know how difficult and momentous this is? Such a historic event. Wait, the seeds only cracked open yesterday. They'll probably sprout more in a few days." Bells said dejectedly, "It still takes 3 months for them to mature anyway." Mr. Gordon suddenly realized something was amiss. 3 months. How did you know that? Bells, startled, realized she'd let something slip. She quickly covered with another excuse. "I saw it in the temple library." Mr. Gordon's interest was piqued. "Is that so? I've heard they have a vast collection of books there containing all sorts of stories, even ancient forbidden texts. I'd like to visit sometime." Then he asked Bells, "So, what are you planning to do with these herbs now? You said you'd tell me if you successfully cultivated them." Bells answered softly, "Oh, about that. She hesitated, unsure how to respond. Initially, I planned to make scented candles to sell, but with this small number of plants, it's impossible. I can only make 2 or 3, and to properly promote them, I need a large quantity. Then Bells quietly asked Mr. Gordon, how much essence can be extracted from this amount? He smacked his lips thoughtfully. If it's in small vials, I think I can fill 2. Hearing this, Bells suddenly had an idea. Then let's change the product. She whispered her plan into Mr. Gordon's ear. He found it intriguing. If that's the case, it will definitely catch everyone's attention. However, for promotion, we need a suitable venue. Are you thinking of the goddess's birthday festival? Bells asked with a smile. Exactly. Mr. Gordon pondered for a moment. Wait, if it's the festival held at the temple, that Diana child will be there too, which means Marquis Barlow will also be present, right? Bells thought vaguely, probably, but why ask? Mr. Gordon continued. That's the day they choose the child who displays the most outstanding abilities to be the saintess, correct? Bells, still unsure why he was asking, softly replied, yes, that's right. Hearing this, Mr. Gordon smiled, as if an idea had struck him. Good, I'll make you the saintess. He suddenly burst out. Last time I was here, I truly hated seeing that child so blatantly disregard you. This time, you must become the saintess and crush that child's arrogance. Bells responded with a faint smile. I don't intend to become the saintess. But he didn't give up, pressing further. Bells, what does intention matter? If you're going to do it right. Because you chose me as your business partner, you must also become the best. Believe in that, Gordon. Bells observed, finding it a bit strange, but he had successfully ignited Gordon's passion. Things had changed since Gordon declared his intention to make her the saintess during the upcoming goddess's birthday festival. Their research into the application of herbs had progressed further. In this research, the realization she had at the moment of her death in her past life was particularly helpful. Memories of her previous life were a great aid. Before being possessed, her main job had been as a director of a cosmetic startup. She had been possessed in the world of a novel she had read many times in her past life. In modern times, she hadn't given up, devoting herself day and night to her work, finally succeeding in developing the product. The next day, Tara happily told Bells, lately, everyone has been complimenting my beautiful skin and asking me for my secret. Bells replied, luckily, when the product launches, everyone will spread the word for us. She was meticulously calculating. Now only the final step remained, the process of starting to sell the product. The next day, Bells requested something from the butler, but he flatly refused, saying, how can you go out without a night escort? It would be better to wait until the Duke returns. But Bells still tried to plead, I'll only be gone for a short while. I don't want to bother the Duke. If you just lend me a carriage, I'll be back quickly. But the butler remained hesitant. I'm still worried. Bells, growing anxious, exclaimed, I just wanted to wait until I had results before letting the Duke know. I came to you specifically, butler. Then she took out the teddy bear, her eyes sparkling as she tried to coax the butler. And it's not like I don't have a knight to protect me. I have a backup plan. The butler remained strict. I've also heard the Duke mention that teddy bear, but wouldn't a knight be better? Bells continued, if you saw the knight's protection in action, you might change your mind immediately. Inwardly, she thought, it's just a bear on the outside. It might not be very reliable. Then the backup plan protection mode activated, and the bear, activating this special mode, spoke. Greetings, I am Bells' guardian knight. The butler had to relent, but he still decided, indeed, I will arrange for a knight to protect you. Suddenly, Bells, the maid, and the butler were startled by the teddy bear. It rushed out of Bells' arms, rang a golden bell, and recited an incantation. I shall vanquish all who dare interfere with this matter. Seeing this, Bells quietly asked the butler, do you think it's a trustworthy guardian knight? The butler, stunned, stammered yes. The changes she had seen at the Capital Merchants Association, even in this place, were just like in Korea. To sell products, one needed to complete gift card and copyright registration. Because the administrative office in charge of this work was located on the main street of the system, she had heard it was always crowded with merchants. Upon entering, Bells asked Tara blankly, we didn't come to the wrong place, did we? Tara replied, no, this is indeed the Capital Merchants Association. Bells remained curious. Then why are there so many children here? Tara said, Miss, let me get a number. Bells still privately wondered if there was some event going on. She also noticed a child bundled up from head to toe, thinking, is there no adult with that child? They look about Edwin's age. Then the boy looked up, and Bells panicked. Did they just make eye contact? Just then, the staff called out, number 64, please come to the counter. Tara immediately called, Miss Bells, it's our turn. let's go. Bells replied, okay, but she still thought vaguely about the boy. He's probably waiting for his parents. Bells approached the desk, where 2 scrolls lay waiting. A clerk greeted her warmly. Good day, Mississippi. How may I help you? The formal address stemmed from the presence of Tara, Bells' personal maid, suggesting to the clerk that Bells was likely of noble birth. I'm here to register a trademark and copyright, Bells replied. The clerk picked up the documents and examined them. Yes, registration can be completed today. Please fill in the necessary information here. As you are still young, please provide your guardian's name. At the mention of a guardian, Bells hesitated, her thoughts drifting to Duke Liam. No, if I write the Duke's name here, it will be discovered within a day, and my plans will reach his ears. I'll write Mr. Gordon's name and submit it for now, since he's my business partner as well. After Bells completed the forms, the clerk spoke again. The processing will take some time. While you wait, why don't you consider participating in this? It's a competition organized by the royal family, and you perfectly meet the entry requirements. Bells looked up in surprise. A competition. The clerk continued their enthusiastic pitch. Yes, it's a business competition for children, aimed at discovering talented individuals. It's open to children aged 5 to 14 and rewards those who develop unique products or demonstrate exceptional business acumen. Faced with this unexpected opportunity, Bells considered her options. Anything related to the royal family wasn't particularly appealing. I'm not really interested. But when she learned the prize money was a staggering 500 gold coins, her attitude shifted dramatically. Really? If it's 500 gold coins, that's equivalent to 5 million, right? Bells exclaimed, her excitement bubbling over. I'll participate. Tara, ever attentive, chimed in. Very well, Mississippi. I'll assist you with the registration process. Bells, still slightly dazed by the potential windfall, mused, I need operating funds. This is perfect. I never thought the royal family would be of use to me one day. A sudden prickle of awareness interrupted her thoughts. I feel like someone is staring. It's that boy from earlier. He's alone, isn't he? Looking closer, she realized that while he didn't resemble Edwin, he possessed quite handsome features. Is he waiting to participate in the competition too? He's staring like that. He must see me as a rival. Even if he's a child, I can't let him get in the way of my operating funds. With a playful glint in her eye, Bells declared, just loud enough to be heard, that prize money is mine. The boy remained impassive. Bells noticed a flash of red hair. Just then, her business license was ready. Miss, all registrations are complete. We wish you success, the clerk announced. Oh yes, Bells replied politely. Thank you. She glanced back at the red-haired boy, surprised to find him gone. He just vanished. Tara, noticing her mistress's thoughtful expression, inquired, is something the matter, Mississippi? It's nothing, Bells answered. Let's go home. In this region, only those with royal blood were entitled to own property, and the more royal blood they inherited, the more likely they were to possess jade green eyes with distinct red hues. The second prince, therefore, felt confident about his almost brown hair and aquamarine eyes. But a child with such vibrant red hair was unique in the empire. He was a candidate for the male lead, the crown prince of the empire, Caesar Esterode. Could the child I saw really be the crown prince? Bells wondered. Why would he be here? She couldn't recall ever hearing about the crown prince participating in any talent competitions in her past life. There must have been something about this in the original story. She strained to remember the information from her phone in her past life. Before the goddess's birthday festival, the crown prince secretly left the imperial palace and was attacked by assassins sent by the queen. Severely injured, the crown prince managed to return to the palace and investigate the matter. However, when the situation didn't improve, the crown prince's aide secretly contacted the Beryl family. Suddenly, a jolt of realization shot through Bells. Could this be it? She bolted, leaving a startled Tara behind. I'm sorry, Bells called back, her voice laced with urgency. I forgot something inside. I'll be right back. As she ran, Bells carefully considered the situation. Even if attacked, Diana would surely help. According to the original story, even if he woke up, all the families that supported him had fallen in her past life. The crown prince, falsely accused of treason, was imprisoned and attacked by strangers in his palace, falling into a coma. If I had been just a little bit more clever back then, this tragedy might not have happened. I want to at least apologize and atone to the person who suffered because of my ignorance. If the events of the original story were to unfold today, I just need to report it to the Security Bureau, and then come back. Suddenly, Bells stopped dead in her tracks, her face draining of color. She looked down the alleyway and saw something terrifying. It was the crown prince's scarf and brooch. She was completely stunned. In that moment, Bells pictured a horrific scene of carnage. Someone wielding a long sword, slowly approaching Caesar Esterode, saying, "A noble royal, not a rat. It was hard to find you, crown prince." Caesar Estrode was terrified, unsure of how to save himself, his life hanging by a thread. In truth, the purpose of a children's entrepreneurship competition is to discover exceptionally talented individuals, regardless of status. This is common knowledge. In reality, this competition is just an excuse for me to find a reliable aide. Everyone connected to the royal family is under the queen's control, and they could betray me at any moment. I need someone from outside the palace, someone unaffected by her influence, someone with an extraordinary mind who can help me build my own foundation. To find a companion who can grow with me and share my values, I organized this competition and secretly came out myself. How did the news leak? Caesar resolved to fight back. He grabbed his small sword and pointed it at the villains, but they just sneered. "Your Highness, what do you intend to do with that toy sword?" Faced with their threats, Caesar thought, "I have to escape first and then figure something out." He fearlessly challenged them. "Are you afraid to come closer because of this toy sword?" The leader flinched, then said haughtily, "You dare speak so arrogantly when you're about to die." Caesar thought carefully. "If we keep stalling, we won't have a chance." He had to reach the main street quickly. He charged forward, sword raised, slashing at the man in front of him, but it wasn't easy. He was struggling to escape. They shouted to each other, "Seize the crown prince immediately." "Are you fools not awake yet?" Crown Prince Caesar refused to give up and continued to fight. The battle was incredibly difficult, and Caesar gritted his teeth, persevering. Just then, another man lunged at the crown prince with a long sword, yelling, "You bastard, die." Indeed, Caesar's strength was no match for theirs. He closed his eyes in fear, thinking, "Damn it, is this the end?" Suddenly, a cute voice rang out, "Dory, assassination mode." Belle's teddy bear flew out and attacked the villains, startling Caesar. After dealing with the immediate threat, the teddy bear approached Caesar and said, "Hello, my name is Dory. I'm Belle's assassin." Dory completely overpowered one man, making an example for the others. It even taunted them. That felt good. The remaining men were terrified, breaking out in a cold sweat. Dory continued to threaten and toy with them. "Anyone else want to play? Let's play together." But they were all too frightened and ran away. Crown Prince Caesar calmed down, but still didn't understand what had happened. Then Bells appeared, sighing, "Oh, my assassination mode is really scary." Caesar saw her and vaguely recognized her. "That child is the same child from the Merchants Association just now." Bells approached Caesar and extended her hand, asking, "Are you all right?" But seeing him silent and unmoving, Bells felt awkward. "Oops, is he wary of me? This child must be frightened by the assassins." That's right, she thought. "I was terrified when I saw the assassins too. I accidentally activated assassination mode. I meant Gar mode." Seeing Caesar try to stand, Bells reminded him, "It's safe now, don't worry." But Caesar coldly replied, "Leave me alone." Bells was taken aback. "My, what a personality on this child," she mused. She suppressed her irritation, thinking, well, it's understandable that he's sensitive after nearly losing his life. If he can stand on his own, he should be all right. I've done all I can, including stopping the assassins. Bells was about to cast a bit of healing magic when she abruptly remembered, healing His Highness isn't my job. It seems His Highness has summoned his men. The less involved I am with the royal family, the better. I must leave immediately. Bells then called for Dory. The teddy bear happily bounded towards her, declaring, "I'm Dory. I've defeated all the assassins." Bells immediately praised him. "Good job. It seems the bad guys have all been taken care of. Let's go home now." Before leaving, Bells didn't forget to address Caesar Esterode. "Well then, I'll be going." Just then, he stumbled again and collapsed unconscious. Bells was shocked, unsure what to do. "Hey, are you all right?" she asked. Seeing the blood, she was horrified. She approached Caesar Esterode and touched the wound, gasping, "This wound is too deep. Even if I try to stop the bleeding, the injury is so severe." Was his injury this bad in the original story? Bells fell silent, thoughts racing. Because he's a male lead candidate, I assumed this child wouldn't die, but after experiencing so much, I might not be so sure anymore. More importantly, is it really okay to leave an unconscious child here? She wondered when the Crown Prince's men would arrive. It seems the villains have already made their move. Moving the Crown Prince is too difficult for me. Is there any way to get the Crown Prince to safety? She recalled Edwin Kalio's asking her when he gave her the Dory teddy bear, had he tried the other modes? She'd been perplexed, asking curiously other modes. Edwin had explained, besides doll mode, there are many modes such as guard mode, assassination mode, and so on. Edwin Kalios had said confidently and excitedly, among them, my favorite is giant mode. Belle's eyes lit up. Overjoyed, she exclaimed, that's it. Dory, giant mode. The teddy bear happily mimicked Dory, giant mode. Dory activated the mode, transforming into a giant teddy bear, towering high. Belle's was delighted, her excitement evident. But then she reminded herself, I must be serious. Now is not the time to be excited. The giant Dory bear carefully scooped them both up. Belle's instructed, since this is an important person, carefully carry him safely to the back of the Merchants Association building. Dory chuckled, important person understood. Belle's thought, if I move him to a crowded place, he'll be discovered quickly and receive timely treatment. But before that, I need to give him first aid. I'll leave the follow-up treatment to Diana. The scene changed. Belle's returned to Tara's side. Seeing her mistress return, Tara was overjoyed, relieved. Belle's, holding the teddy bear, said cheerfully, I'm back. Tara, her maid, anxiously asked, Miss, where did you go? Because you weren't at the Merchants Association, we almost sent someone to the Duke's mansion. Belle's felt apologetic, stammering, I'm sorry. A child inside dropped this, and I tried to help him look for it. In the end, I couldn't find the owner, so I came back. Tara exclaimed, oh dear, and carefully instructed, Miss, if something like this happens again, remember to take me with you. Belle's nodded in response. Understood. I'll definitely go with Tara next time. I'm sorry for making you worry. Then Belle's and Tara happily returned to the Duke's mansion together. As for Caesar Esterode, he had been taken to a place to receive treatment, and everyone was worried about him. Would the Crown Prince be all right? The scene shifted back to Belle's. When I returned to the Duke's mansion, when the Duke, Edwin, and Mr. Gordon learned about my outing, they scolded me for a long time. After promising not to do it again, I was finally free. A few days after that major incident, the grand festival celebrating the goddess's birthday had begun. Today was finally the second day of the festivities, marking the real start of the money-making opportunities. The morning for prayer at the temple arrived, and Belle's, engrossed in the newspaper, breathed a sigh of relief after seeing no reports about the Crown Prince incident. I was worried that saving the Crown Prince would affect the plot of this world, but perhaps that was an unnecessary worry. Just then, Tara inquired, Miss, are you really going to wear that outfit? She held out several exquisitely beautiful pink princess dresses, shimmering and sparkling, her lips pouting slightly. Miss, it's such a shame. Are you really going to forego such lovely dresses? Belle's replied cheerfully, the anti-loss bracelet from the Duke is enough. Tara sighed, I know it's a precious item, but Belle's beamed at the mention of the bracelet. The Duke gave me this anti-loss bracelet, saying I must wear it at all times after the last time I went out. I understand his concern, but I think it's a bit much. It's made of rubies and platinum, you know? Then, addressing her maids, Belle's explained, today is the day I visit my friends at the orphanage. No one there dresses like that, and it would be strange if I were the only one dressed up. Hearing this, the maids all admired their mistress's consideration and thoughtfulness. She had planned everything out in advance. Actually, if I were to show up in an expensive dress, I would definitely be criticized. That's why I have to wear this. In my past life, I was sponsored by the Marquis family and wore beautiful dresses. Back then, I was truly envious of Diana. After being sponsored by the Duke's family, I attended the festival in dazzling attire. However, because my outfit was too extravagant and unsuitable for the occasion, the looks I received were, of course, not very kind. I didn't understand the reason back then. So, I felt very hurt. Someone even harshly remarked, the healing power weakens every year, and she's dressed like royalty. How ridiculous. Speaking of which, there was only one child who explained the reason to me at the time. Although I don't quite remember his face, I'm sure I still remember his rude way of speaking. Thanks to that incident, I corrected my behavior and only wore simple clothes from then on. Even so, I was still labeled as imitating Diana. But how did he know that my healing power was gradually weakening every year? Back then, he just looked like a shabbily dressed, rude orphan. In my past life, my healing abilities deteriorated, and eventually, Even healing small wounds became difficult. I couldn't find a reason at the time, and it wasn't until I was confined to the repentance room that I realized it was because my divine power, the very means of healing, was being stolen. Because in my past life, I was only focused on comparing myself to Diana. I didn't even suspect that my healing abilities were gradually weakening. Did he know this, but chose not to tell me? Or was it simply because he hated me? Suddenly, someone knocked on Belle's door. The butler respectfully announced, "Miss, the Duke requests your presence for breakfast with the young dukes before heading to the temple." Bells was surprised. The Duke. She recalled how busy everyone in the Duke's family was. "Ever since I came here, I've always eaten alone. Duke Liam has too much work, Edwin is busy shouldering the responsibilities of the heir, and Joshua Kaleo is undergoing rehabilitation. If we were to gather, it would usually be in the evening when there's more free time, and even then, it would only be two of us at most." Arriving at the dining room, Bells wondered in amazement, what's going on today? Everyone's having breakfast together. Then, not forgetting her manners, she greeted them. "Sorry I'm late." "Good morning." Seeing Bells, Joshua's eyes lit up and he exclaimed, "Sister." Duke Liam also greeted her warmly. "Good morning. Don't mind us calling you over so suddenly." Joshua urged Bells forward. "Come on in, sister." Bells sat down at the table, and Liam instructed the servants. "All right, now that everyone's seated, bring the food." They then proceeded to enjoy a pleasant breakfast of delicious steak together. Edwin thoughtfully cut all the beef into bite-sized pieces for Joshua. Joshua giggled, saying, "You're so good, brother." Bells observed that Edwin had been mature even from a young age. In her past life, they occasionally ate together, but she didn't remember the atmosphere being this warm. Now, because Joshua was alive and well, everything was different. Seeing how much the Duke's family had changed compared to her previous life, Bells felt a profound sense of purpose. As Bells enjoyed her meal, Duke Liam complimented her. "Your table manners are impeccable. Did you learn them at the temple orphanage?" Bells nodded, replying softly, "Yes." Liam continued, "They've certainly been helpful." But in truth, the Duke didn't know that Bells had only ever used wooden spoons at the orphanage and the temple. The order and purpose of each fork and spoon, she had learned all of that from the Duke himself. She hadn't even known that used cutlery would be taken away by the servants. So on the first day, she had dined with everyone in her past life. It had been incredibly embarrassing. She had fumbled through the meal, thinking, "This is so humiliating. Will the Duke regret sponsoring me?" That day, the Duke hadn't simply summarized the etiquette, but explained it in detail. He had taught her that when unsure, she should work her way inwards from the outermost utensils. The smaller ones are usually for dessert, and the ones with holes at the top are usually for fish dishes. Thinking of it that way will make it easier to understand. Recalling all of this, Bells felt nothing but gratitude for the Duke. Observing the exchange, Duke Liam reminded Joshua, "You need to learn proper dining etiquette soon, too. I wonder when you'll grow up a bit more." Seeing the Duke's serious expression, Bells still knew that his words came from a place of love. And because she understood how embarrassing it was to be compared to someone else, she hoped Joshua wouldn't feel that way because of her. Suddenly, there was the sound of something clattering to the floor. Joshua hurriedly said, "I'm sorry, I'm still a bit weak." Duke Liam didn't scold him at all, instead saying gently, "It's all right. You're both still young. You'll learn gradually." Bells was startled to realize he had let her off the hook too. Then she asked cheerfully, "What's the occasion?" "It's rare for us all to have a meal together like this." Edwin said, "It's an important day." Joshua added excitedly, "That's right. It's an extremely important day." Bells ventured to guess. "What is it? Is it an anniversary?" Liam chuckled, explaining, "The person of honor doesn't even understand the situation. Everyone is gathered here to support you. Isn't today a very important day for you?" Bells was taken aback. "For me." The Duke continued, "The child with the most outstanding service talent is appointed a saint, correct?" Bells felt a flicker of nervousness. "Ah, you know about that. Talent coins are a form of temple currency, equivalent in value to gold coins. Nobles exchange imperial currency for talent coins to use temple services. They can be used to purchase items made by the orphans or to develop their abilities. The child who earns the most talent coins is chosen as the saint. The saint gets to keep all the talent coins they earned. Of course, the other children's talent coins are collected by the temple." Bells chose her words carefully, voicing her true feelings. "Thank you all for your support, but I'm not sure I want to become a saint." Duke Liam spoke again. "That's not what Mr. Gordon told me. I heard you've been working hard for a month to become a saint." Hearing this, Bells was speechless, trying to hide her shock. That old man. Didn't we agree to keep it a secret? The Duke continued. After achieving good results, he wanted to confidently tell the Duke. Remembering the elf seeds, she hurriedly explained, about that. Actually, I used some readily available materials from the Duke's mansion. I'll be sure to calculate the usage fees accurately. So may I continue using them? She thought, since it's come to this, I might as well ask to use the elf grass, too. Bells promised the Duke, I'll definitely explain the source of it after I make a profit. The Duke simply smiled gently and said, although I don't know what it is, since you're talking about calculating usage fees, it seems the expected profit margin is quite high. He patted Belle's head and said, go ahead and use whatever you need. I'm quite looking forward to seeing what you can accomplish. Belle thanked him profusely. Edwin watched them quietly, then asked with a puzzled expression, why are you doing this? Wouldn't it be better to conserve your healing abilities as a saint candidate? Wouldn't it be more beneficial to use your healing powers to earn talent coins? Hearing this, Belle stammered nervously, unsure how to respond. Lost in thought, she mused, the purpose of this goddess's festival is to promote my products. Even though my healing abilities are stronger than in my past life, how could I possibly compete with Diana, the heroine and future saint? I don't want to be compared so embarrassingly. She said shyly to everyone, actually, I'm not very confident in my healing abilities. I'm sorry to disappoint you. The Duke's demeanor suddenly shifted. He frowned and asked, did someone say something to you? Belle panicked. No, it's just that I'm not confident enough. Joshua said innocently, sister, your healing abilities are amazing. You healed me too. Edwin also encouraged her, that's right. Whatever you do, just do what you want to do, because I'll always be on your side. The Duke, now in a much better mood, said yes, don't feel pressured. Just think of it as going out to have some fun. After all, you're the one who's going to become a saint today. The position of saint can be bought with money. I've already exchanged enough of Logan's money, so just wait and see. Belle was stunned by his generous spending, her jaw dropping slightly. Each person can only exchange a maximum of 100 talents. Duke, are you planning to bribe the intermediaries with money that isn't yours? Belle then innocently asked, will you be coming later? The Duke chuckled. Isn't that obvious? Edwin chimed in. I've cleared my entire schedule for today. Belle started to feel nervous. She hadn't expected Edwin to be there either. In the original story, the Duke's family rarely participated in public events. The Duke was immersed in his work, and Edwin only returned to the Duke's mansion after he grew up, the number of times he visited countable on one hand. So on temple event days, Logan, the crime supervisor, attended in their place. Why now? Just then, Joshua sighed sadly. I wanted to go too, but Gordon said I don't have enough immunity yet, so I can't. Belle was bewildered. This was a situation she had never considered. The children participating in the festival need to prepare their stalls. I'll head to the temple first. Looking at the changing temple, Belle felt a surge of confidence. It's been a while since I've been to the temple. Everything here is still the same as that day. I used to hate this place, but now I can't see anything at all. While carrying Mr. Gordon's belongings, she could already hear him groaning, oh, my back. It's understandable that an old man like me is carrying these things. Belle responded matter-of-factly, Mr. Gordon is my business partner, so there's nothing I can do. Inwardly, she had another thought. If I had Dory, carrying heavy things would be much easier, but it doesn't feel right to use him for someone else's belongings. Mr. Gordon feigned anger, laughing as he said, even so, there's no need for you to act as a servant. You're in such good health, and there's the Duke as well. Do you know how careful I have to be coming here as a servant? Because of the position you desire. He continued, the Duke offered to help after breakfast, but I firmly stopped him. It would be disastrous if it got out that he was acting as a servant at the temple festival. When the steward inquired, I heard they needed a servant, and I offered myself if they couldn't find anyone. Thankfully, Belle jumped in and insisted at that time. Old Gordon had already decided to help, but he was still thinking. By the way, aren't you going to see your close friends or teachers before you go back? I'm sure everyone else would. Belle gave an awkward laugh. Actually, I don't have many friends. I'm fine. Gordon continued, judging by how you are at the Duke's mansion, it seems like many teachers took a liking to you because of your lovely personality. Belle acted nonchalant. It's all right. I'm quite ordinary, so they probably don't remember me. Suddenly, someone interrupted. Ordinary. Belle is a very special child. It was Laureen, the headmistress of the new orphanage, her words laced with a saccharine smile. Would you like to hear about Belle? Belle's expression hardened. How can she pretend she doesn't know I'm under the Duke's patronage, the same girl she used to look down on? She thought. She must be dying to know how I'm doing. It's ironic, considering when my healing abilities first manifested, she treated me with more attention and care than anyone. She knew I had healing abilities at such a young age. She was the headmistress of this orphanage back then. Having never known a parent's love, her attention felt absolute. So important, in fact, that I set a goal for myself based on her empty praise. Belle must become a great saint. I craved her attention, but that shallow affection vanished the moment Diana arrived at the orphanage. It vanished so naturally, all because of Diana, who not only possessed superior healing abilities, but also knew how to behave and present herself. The headmistress constantly compared me to Diana. When Diana received a sponsor, I was scolded and berated. Why do you always hit and pinch others? Are you trying to cause trouble? Try to be like Diana, even just half as good. I tried to endure, even though I knew it wasn't my fault. Her disdain only grew. Perhaps she was the one who instilled my inferiority complex towards Diana. In truth, it was after that I started down the wrong path, becoming a truly troublesome child. The scene shifted to the present. Mr. Gordon inquired, "Oh, is she a teacher at the orphanage?" "Do tell." Belle tried to deflect the conversation. "There's nothing interesting to hear. Let's hurry and finish cleaning." Mr. Gordon looked perplexed. Why should I feel ashamed? Looking at Lorraine's malicious expression, Belle felt a prickle of anxiety, forcing her to be on guard. Is she mocking my clothes? I know exactly what she's thinking. No matter how well I'm doing now, I have no intention of forgiving her. I can't escape this uncomfortable feeling. Suddenly, other nuns arrived, chirping with feigned delight. "Oh, headmistress, is that Belle?" Lorraine replied, "Yes, that's Belle. She's been waiting for this opportunity." Belle thought grimly. Lorraine began to speak ill of Belle in front of Mr. Gordon. "Oh, she was nothing but trouble at the orphanage. Look at how she's dressed. She must be living quite slovenly over there. Are you a servant of the Duke's household?" They usually bring servants as assistants to these events. It seems even that's too extravagant for you. Mr. Gordon flinched at the word servant, bewildered by her assumption. Lorraine continued her venomous whispers. "Don't pay too much attention to that child. She'll probably be back at the orphanage soon enough." At this, Mr. Gordon's indignation flared. "What do you mean by that?" he demanded. The two nuns chimed in, insinuating, "After all, she's only sponsored because she treated the young master. Isn't that right? She just added a little bit to what Diana had almost completely healed. She's not the Duke's primary physician. Diana must have worked so hard, but Belle took all the credit. If it were me, I wouldn't even talk to her. She's so hateful." Belle silently watched Mr. Gordon's face, fighting to contain her emotions. "Because of me, he has to listen to this," she thought sadly. Mr. Gordon, unable to bear it any longer, yet maintaining a calm demeanor, addressed the nuns. "This child may not be the most polite, but in terms of healing abilities, she is the Duke's primary physician. This Gordon Palliate can guarantee." He even produced his business card as proof of his absolute credibility. Belle was deeply touched by his love and trust, his concern that she would be hurt by their words. When Lorraine took Gordon's card, she gasped in shock. "That old man is the Duke's personal physician, Palliate. That man is a renowned genius in the medical field." Belle, too, was struck by a sudden realization. "It seems that old man is even more influential than I thought." Gordon continued proudly. "Belle single-handedly cured the second young master. The Duke doesn't even understand how important this child is to me. Thanks to her, I was able to keep my position as his assistant." Belle glanced dismissively at Lorraine, no longer afraid. Their words no longer stung. There was no real need for this charade, but it was an opportunity Gordon had created for her. With newfound confidence, Belle announced, "That's right. The Duke even gave me a safety bracelet. He can't be my assistant, but he'll visit my stall later, so I don't get lost." Lorraine, now visibly sweating, stammered, "The Duke will visit the exhibition." "I'm so sorry, Belle. These incompetent adults almost wronged you. The other nuns would have had the supervisor scold you. So could you forgive me this time? Belle is such a good child." Belle watched her perplexed. The sudden shift in attitude upon hearing the Duke's name was blatant. She didn't want to accept the apology. But the event was about to begin, and causing a scene wouldn't help. So, Belle chirped, "All right, I forgive you all." Gordon, witnessing this, was a mixture of surprised and speechless. The nuns, ecstatic, exclaimed, "Thank you. We'll go prepare the stall now." "We'll be going then." After the nuns left, Gordon chided Belle. You're so assertive at the Duke's mansion. Why are you so soft here? Belle replied, because you're on my side, that's why I forgave them. In truth, she had an ulterior motive. The headmistress had been constipated for days. Belle didn't need to do anything. Just observing her was enough. There was a certain aroma. Gordon remained puzzled. But strangely, your act of defiance landed me such a good spot. Gesturing towards the center of the square, Belle said vaguely, this spot does attract everyone's attention, but there's a problem. He asked, curious, what is it? Suddenly, Diana appeared, rushing towards Belle. Beaming, Diana exclaimed, you're here. Belle wasn't surprised. Her stall was right next to Diana's. Diana's eyes sparkled. I missed you so much, Belle, she said warmly. As soon as Diana arrived, several other children flocked around her, chattering excitedly. In her past life, they always gave her the best spot at the temple. It was a way to make Diana shine brighter by diminishing Belle. Next to a friendless, seemingly talentless girl, Diana would naturally stand out. But something puzzled Belle. Why was Diana dressed so elaborately? It was strikingly different from her past life. The outfit Diana wore now was almost identical to the one Belle had worn last time. How strange. Diana suddenly asked Belle, this outfit doesn't really suit me, does it? Startled, Belle replied, oh no, it's not that. Diana, her gaze fixed on Belle, continued, I want to dress simply like Belle. Hearing this, Belle felt a sense of unease, similar to what she had experienced before. There was an instability emanating from Diana. Diana went on to complain that after seeing Belle's attire at the Duke's mansion, the Marquis had showered her with gifts. She couldn't refuse. She couldn't disappoint him. Belle pondered this. While she couldn't do anything about the Marquis, it was odd how her and Diana's paths were completely reversed from their past lives. Was Diana imitating her? Diana then turned to Mr. Gordon, surprisingly polite. What are you doing here, sir? She inquired. Gordon sighed. I'm here for Belle. Why else would I be here? Diana chuckled lightly. I see. You two seem quite close. Aren't you the Duke's personal physician? And you're helping out at the festival. Belle must be very lucky. Diana's maid, witnessing her mistress mention the personal physician, looked surprised. She glared at Gordon and asked sarcastically, could it be that you're helping with some sort of treatment? Gordon, bristling, immediately retorted, is she a new maid? Spouting such nonsense. This girl prepared all the gifts herself. Do I need to lie about such volunteer work? Diana's expression changed. Feigning concern, she said, her tone laced with mockery, it's against the rules to have someone else help with treatments. If you break the rules, you know you'll be expelled. The surrounding children began to whisper, muttering about Belle breaking the rules, claiming that was just the kind of person she was. Mr. Gordon, indignant, called for reason. Belle, however, tried to remain patient, carefully considering the situation. Even if she argued that Diana meant no harm, saying those words made it seem as though she was breaking the rules. If it were just herself, it wouldn't be a problem, but with Mr. Gordon involved, the Duke's family reputation could be tarnished, and that was something she couldn't bear. Taking a deep breath, Belle replied to Diana in a clear voice, don't worry, I'm well aware that exploiting someone else's abilities is against the rules. Diana offered a vague smile, feigning innocence. I only said that because I was worried about you. Are you angry? Belle responded, no, I also know you said that out of concern. That's right, we're friends. Like I said last time, I'll earn my merit with my own abilities, just like a saint candidate should. Inwardly, Belle felt a surge of resolve. She had initially just wanted to promote her products, but now, inexplicably, she felt a burning desire to win. Belle also didn't forget to remind Diana, if you think I'm breaking the rules, feel free to report me. Even if you continue to watch us, it's fine. Diana's new maid flinched, looking slightly apprehensive. Mr. Gordon, meanwhile, was inwardly pleased, impressed by Belle's maturity and firmness. Then, with a friendly gesture, Belle extended her hand. Let's have a fair competition. Diana was taken aback by the radiant confidence Belle exuded. As for Belle, her sole focus now was surpassing Diana. Both girls were determined to win, refusing to accept defeat. Diana then replied with a smile, all right, thank you. And with that, before the impending fierce competition, the two shook hands. The scene shifted. Mr. Gordon, his expression a mixture of worry and seriousness, asked Belle, are we really going to be okay? Belle, sketching leisurely, replied with an optimistic and confident smile, of course. Everything is going according to plan, so don't worry. Gordon remained hesitant. But then, 30 minutes into the event, with not a single customer in sight, panic and confusion began to set in. Their stall was as desolate as an abandoned temple. He anxiously told Belle, it's bad enough that there are no customers, but the thought of our stall gradually being blocked by that line over there is even more irritating. It turned out that, unable to queue in the aisle, the crowd was steadily encroaching upon Belle's stall. Looking over at Diana's stall, Belle thought, "It looks like all the sick people in the world have gathered there. I suppose it's understandable, considering most nobles likely came here for Diana's healing." The banner reads, "Healing by Saint Candidate Diana, 10 copper coins." Come to think of it, 10 copper coins is cheaper than I expected. If it were me, I'd charge at least 50. Indeed, Mira, Santos is different. Not to mention medicine, even receiving treatment at the temple costs a fortune. Being able to receive healing from a saint candidate for just 10 copper coins naturally results in a long queue. So even without advertising, attention naturally gravitates towards Diana. Marquis Barrow Lord, who had also come to help, suddenly encountered an acquaintance and shook his hand enthusiastically. "Oh, if it isn't Baron Hansen. Baron, I heard about your injured finger. I specifically told Diana to prioritize you." Observing this, Belle realized with a sinking feeling that the Marquis, as he did every year, had arrived earlier than anyone else and led all the nobles to Diana. This time was no exception. Mr. Gordon, growing impatient, clicked his tongue at Belle. "Completely unethical. If this continues, won't we end up selling nothing by the time the Duke arrives? Every time the Duke asks what you and I are doing alone, I boldly declare it a trade secret. But it would be incredibly embarrassing if we end up selling nothing, wouldn't it?" Belle gave a vague smile. Perhaps he assumed the Duke would buy her wares. A small hint. High-ranking nobles usually arrive late, so Duke Calios will almost certainly be among the last to arrive. Belle remained unfazed, calmly addressing Mr. Gordon. "It's all right. It's still early. There's no need to rush. Our goods don't overlap with theirs, so we'll definitely have customers. What we offer is unique." Observing the other stalls charging 3 copper coins for photos or poetry recitations, Mr. Gordon's confidence returned. "That's obvious," he declared, then leaned in to whisper to Belle, "Those are all my creations." Belle shook her head. "No, there are creations. Our secret weapons. Because these things, the things old Gordon and I stayed up all night making, are completely new to this world." The scene shifted. 2 soldiers, mid-conversation, abruptly stopped, their faces registering surprise. With a newfound solemnity, they announced, "Lady Claude arrives." The most influential figure in high society, Marquis Barrow Lord, upon spotting the noblewoman, immediately stepped forward to greet her. "How have you been?" he inquired. She responded with a pleasant smile. "It's been a while, Marquis." Belle observed that Lady Claude appeared even older than old Gordon. This woman, the deceased emperor's sister and the current emperor's aunt, represented the kind of influential figure Belle aspired to become. She understood perfectly why the Marquis Barrow had cleared the area around Diana's stall for Lady Claude. Upon seeing the lady, Diana adopted a subservient demeanor. "Welcome, Lady Claude," she said. But Belle knew that Diana's healing abilities would be useless for this noblewoman. A white aura surrounded Lady Claude, a sign that she was nearing the end of her life due to old age. Just as the dead couldn't be resurrected, not even the goddess's gift could defy the natural order. This would only serve to frustrate the other nobles who had been waiting patiently. Lady Claude patted Diana's head. "It's been a while. Could you perhaps heal me this time?" Diana responded confidently, "Leave it to me." Then, glancing at Belle, Diana offered a provocative whisper, "Belle, how are you?" Belle didn't retaliate or respond in kind. She finally understood the strange feeling she'd been getting from Diana. Diana's previous words had nearly tarnished her reputation, along with old Gordon's and that of the Duke's family. The Belle of her past life wouldn't have even dared to imagine such a scenario. This Diana was watching her, irritated by her very presence. She was different from the Diana of her past life, changed because Belle had changed. Or perhaps this was how Diana had always been. For the honor of the Duke's family, she had to become the saint. Belle offered a cheerful smile in response. "I'm doing well. I wish you the best of luck too." Seeing that Belle remained unaffected by her taunts, Diana seemed annoyed and envious. Belle, however, felt a sense of clarity. "In my past life, I hated this position, constantly being compared to her. But now I'm almost grateful." Mr. Gordon, still irritated, grumbled, "What rotten luck. Why did she have to go in that direction?" Belle replied, "Now's our chance to start promoting ourselves." She rummaged through a box, prompting Gordon to ask, "Are you really going to use that?" She answered confidently, "Of course." Every year, when she became the saint, that reputation would draw people in, eliminating the need for expensive advertising. Holding a megaphone, Belle exuded confidence. The rules don't say anything about using magical tools. Mr. Gordon chuckled. I've really teamed up with the devil, haven't I? The scene changed. The sun was now high in the sky, its heat oppressive. The already frail nobles, forced to wait for Diana's healing, must have been exhausted after standing for so long. Now was the perfect opportunity. Belle spoke into the megaphone, her voice booming across the square. Taking a deep breath, she called out with cheerful confidence, from now on, for the first 10 customers, just one sip and vitality will surge through you. We're giving away free samples of our miracle elixir. The tea and herbal products we've prepared today come with a bonus item, Old Gordon's favorite concentrated vitality restorative. While the amount of tea and herbs we could use was limited, and this was hastily made to complement the tea-based products, its effects are still superior to any medicine sold on the market, rather than being made with cheap ingredients. Moreover, it's refreshing and delicious, the ideal product to attract everyone. It's highly effective even for mild colds and fatigue, guaranteed by the Duke's physician, Gordon Peliot, in front of Belle's stall to the captivated crowd. Marquis Barrow Lord, starting to feel uneasy, jealously remarked that they must be selling it under some random name. But everyone was enthusiastic and began to pay attention to Belle's stall. Hearing Mr. Gordon's name, they praised him, whispering amongst themselves, "Isn't Gordon Peliot a celebrity in the medical field? It's free, let's try it." When a marquis saw everyone starting to leave Diana's stall and turn towards Belle's, he was dumbfounded, speechless. What did he say? That's obviously a lie, right? The first person to arrive at Belle's stall ran up, panting, and said, "Miss, I'm the first. Can I have one?" Belle happily greeted the customer, gave him the medicine, and carefully told him after he finished drinking, "You can return the empty bottle to us." Bella planned ahead. There are about 600 nobles attending, and I've prepared about 500 bottles of vitality restorative. If I can sell half, I can aim for the saint's position. The next person who came to Belle's stall said, "Can I have one too? I want to get rid of this lingering cold." Everyone who drank it felt the same way. The taste was quite good. If the patients truly expected a healing effect, just a little infusion of holy power would cure them. In the blink of an eye, drinking the medicine at Belle's stall became like drinking holy water. Everyone who drank it couldn't help but exclaim, "Oh, it really clears my sinuses." They sang its praises. "And it tastes so good. Give me 10 more bottles. It looks really effective. The one standing next to me really is Gordon, so you can trust that it's a safe drink." Customers flocked in, everyone eager for their turn. Mr. Gordon was delighted to see 10 bottles disappear in an instant, but he also had to whisper to Belle, "Is this okay? Selling vitality restorative as a panacea is practically fraud." Belle whispered back, "No one actually thinks it's a panacea anyway." Mr. Gordon finally understood, right? Advertising slogans are usually all the same, like Snoopy, the dancing fairy of the mountain god. My nickname is Motad. Even the Pope visited my house. Belle thought, then my slogan is fine too. She also explained to Gordon, maybe they'll buy it because they're thirsty, attracted by the cheaper than expected price, or maybe they'll buy it expecting Diana's healing and the placebo effect will kick in. Whatever the reason, we just need to sell a lot. And then we just need to find customers who will buy the real products. Belle greeted the customers with great enthusiasm and politeness. "Thank you, sir. If you like it, please spread the word." The irascible Marquis Barrow, starting to feel envious, gritted his teeth, thinking, they're working hard to steal customers right next door. He angrily shouted, "Is Diana that enviable? If you're a saint's candidate, act like one. You have to compete with your healing abilities. How can you use that cheap drink and then deceive people by calling it a panacea?" The customers started to get confused after hearing the Marquis's words. Belle thought, the reason why the Marquis deliberately shouted so loudly is too obvious. They want to declare that I'm inferior to Diana. I'm a saint's candidate, but it's okay because I've successfully attracted everyone's attention. The Marquis continued to cause a scene, pointing directly at Belle and scolding her. What kind of medicine is it that makes the Marquis so furious? A panacea. Nonsense. This also reached Lady Claude's ears, and she began to ponder everything.